when the guy told him, what do I do to earn salvation? He said, keep the commandments. But then the guy who was all I did on the doubt, he was like, follow me. So you follow the law in Jesus. Like, faith and works.
And what's crazy is David Wood got stuck by the Muslim metaphysician because of this situation. Because the Muslim metaphysician brought up how Matthew, I think it's chapter 28, or it might be like 23, where it says the scribes and the Pharisees said to Moses, do everything they tell you to do. And guess what David said? Yeah, if they're talking about following the law of Moses, those Christians back then, you see, you can't say that Jesus...
Kind of like if you go to jail and then you go to jail because you committed a crime, and then Jesus goes there and bails you out, now you're out of jail, you don't commit crimes anymore. You try your best not to be a criminal again, you know? That's what you're at.
You do. That's human nature. What if you do? Keep saying.
That's why we have grace.
Grace.
No, Paul says you're of the devil. You are of the devil.
Yeah, because they're already reformed criminals. Do you understand? They've already been given another chance after imprisonment.
Paul says you can't sin no more. One more sin, you're of the devil. You're done.
Oh, wait, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Okay, so you guys...
You know, I don't trust Muslims and then understand the Bible.
Hell nah, nigga, you better read that. If you sin one time, you of the devil, get the hell out of here.
Okay, that's just so easy to find verses nowadays.
I think he's quoting John. That's not even Paul. That's how I know you don't know what you're talking about.
Paul is my...
They only quote synthesis. They never quote like a whole, like, you know.
Confusion, it's Paul.
I think it says he is the sinners of the devil, something like that. But that's John though.
John Doe.
No.
John Doe.
John Doe said that. Jane Doe.
John Doe.
But I think the key word in that verse is sinner. Just because you're sin doesn't mean you're a sinner. You know, you can fall short. But that doesn't.
What does the verse say?
Well, that's very deep. Just
I think
because
he's
you're the sinner. That's very deep.
Arvon, read the verse. You brought out the verse. Better read it. Muhammad said if you make a claim, it's the burden of proof is on you.
Yeah, break it down for us.
I gotta find this.
It's not about to say nothing on
Muslims be
you
breaking
there.
Muhammad's law. The Muslims be breaking Muhammad's law all the time, making claims without bringing proof. You better hear and obey, nigga.
Oh, this John. Okay. No, it's definitely. Okay, so I think you're right. It's just actually Johnson.
Exactly.
That's what John said. I know Paul has to say something about you can't see no more.
Paul has to say it. We gotta get Paul.
You better say something.
Not the typing on the laptop. That's hilarious. You really looking for that verse.
So what is the standard that God will use? I mean, I understand that we all eventually in heaven because of His mercy, but that's what the law is. The law, it's just
What's the verse?
On A.
your actions against standard. If you take the
Hold
law
on a
away,
minute.
I don't know what's left.
Arvin.
Argo, what's the verse?
Jesus, hold on, guys. Jesus' mission was primarily for Israel. Yeah. Matthew 15:24. I was sent only for the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Oh,
Right?
it goes against
So
Christianity.
hold on, wait. Jesus never commanded the Gentiles to keep the law of Moses. You'll notice something about Jesus never tells the Gentiles to keep the Sabbath. Tells us to be circumcised. Never tells us to keep kosher. Mark 7:18-19. Jesus declared all foods clean, right? Which directly undercuts kosher laws. When the Gentiles approached Jesus, yeah. Well, listen, I'm not even going to go into that point. Basically, Jesus points to the new basis of faith and love, right? That the law was for the Israelites, not for the Gentiles. I don't know what's so confusing about it.
Yeah, so the reason, so you have a couple issues, right?
Yeah,
When
but
Jesus
hold
is
on.
only sent, hold on, wait.
Hold
When
on,
Jesus,
wait. Let me just
Jesus
finish this
only,
last point. Let me just finish this last
You
point,
just
and you can go. No. Right? When Jesus said, I did not come to abolish the law in Matthew 5:17, Jesus fulfilled the law, completed its role, embodied it perfectly. Fulfillment requiring everyone forever to keep it. Yes, sacrifice, priesthood, and purity laws all pointed to him. So was all the sacrifice that Jesus did was for nothing?
okay. So
Oh, my
let's go with the
days.
first one. So when Jesus says that or Mark really says all foods are clean, even Christian scholars do not take that as him saying the dietary laws are no longer valid. And when Jesus says that you have to, or when he says that all or I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel, then you have to say that, okay, he's saying only the lost sheep. If you're not lost, then you're good. You don't have to worry. You can just do whatever. Jesus being sent only to the lost sheep of Israel is the fact that the prophecies come to Israel. The prophet Jesus or God only dealt with Israel as a nation. Exactly. So the Jews, hold on, wait. The Jews have the context. The Jews know what a Messiah is, what the predictions and the prophecies are, and so he goes to them. But then later on, the Great Commission is to the whole world. And then likewise, even Paul was sent to the Gentiles. And people have to remember the Gentiles were always a part of Israel. If you are someone who wants to follow God, you are considered Israel. Even if you were born an Israelite, but you don't want to follow God, you're not considered an Israelite. And so Gentiles and Israel separation isn't really there. And then Paul, when Paul was sent to the Gentiles, you're either going to say Paul's a hypocrite because Paul said, I told people to stay away from meat sacrificed to idols and away from blood. And then he also says, a meat sacrificed to idols is nothing, so you can eat it. So either Paul is telling us something, like when you're under a certain circumstance, you don't have to sit there and worry about every nitty-gritty thing, or you're going to say he's a hypocrite. And the last thing I'll say is, remember when Paul said that he told the Gentiles only to abstain from adultery, meat sacrificed to idols, and blood, he said for the law or Moses is preached
Every Shabbat.
every Sabbath. So he knows that they're going to go and learn about the laws as they go.
So that means then the sacrifice that Jesus made in terms of taking to the cross, him being the new high priest and all that was all for nothing.
No, that's
No, it isn't for nothing. The true fulfillment is in Christ, but it doesn't even get rid of the sacrifices. According to future prophecy, I think it's in Isaiah and Ezekiel, there will be sacrifices again in the new millennial reign.
Paul offered sacrifices after Jesus' death and resurrection.
So when you read Luke 24:44, when the law points to Christ, and then in John 1:17, the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. So basically what you're saying is that the sacrifice Jesus made by taking to the cross and all that was for nothing.
No,
Notice how the grace is from Jesus Christ, because Moses gave the law, because you're gonna get condemned by the law. If you break the law, hold on, wait. No, I do believe what Paul's saying. I just don't make him out to be a hypocrite. And so the law came through Moses because you were going to be condemned by the law if you break it. Where Jesus comes in a period of grace. So his grace allows you to break the law, not telling you to break the law, but allows you to break the law without the punishment. And so it gives you time to become better and better.
Exactly.
So what about in Acts 15, 10, 11, when Peter says putting the law on the Gentiles is a yoke even Jews couldn't bear?
Yeah, because you're putting the entirety of the law, saying, look, you have to follow this whole law, otherwise you're not a part of the covenant. But that's not the proper way to understand it. And this is why Paul says that that you don't have to follow the law in order to enter into the covenant. And this is why he says that I only put these certain things because they'll learn the law as every Sabbath as Moses has preached. Because you don't just put the whole law onto people.
So what about Romans 10:4, when Christ is the end of the law for the righteousness?
The Greek doesn't say end of the law. The Greek says he's the goal of the law.
Oh, that's the Greek. Like, this is what I love this talk.
Yeah, so Jesus is telling you how you ought to demonstrate the law. So that's why whenever he would address the Pharisees and the Sadducees, he would show how they're hypocrites, how they're overburdensome, and they forget the weightier matters of the law, which is faithfulness and mercy, which means you have faith that they will get back up. A righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up. And then you have grace that you don't have to just punish them right away. Or mercy, same thing.
Man, I think the interpretation, how you lot have interpreted it, so all the church fathers, all the history, all of it was just all bollocks.
No, we're not saying that. I just think
it is.
No, I think you have to, if you're going to follow Judaic religion, you gotta understand it from the Hebraic perspective. Instead of putting your trust in a bunch of Gentiles to understand the text, that's just how I see it. You gotta follow what Jesus says and what the first church, which was the Church of Jerusalem, that James, which was the brother of Jesus, the head of that church, that's the church that you have to get the true understanding.
So the law that was given to Israel under the Old Covenant, are we, the church, the bride of groom, under the Old Covenant, or are we under?
No, you're not under the Old Covenant. No, we're not.
So that means Gentiles does not have to keep that law.
No, that's not what it
the Old
means.
Covenant. Yes, it is.
I actually want you to read something for me. Is that okay? 1 second. Let me part.
Yeah, and I'll just mention again, a covenant does not negate the previous laws. A covenant is a marriage, an agreement between two people. I can have an ex-wife that I had a covenant with, and now I have a new wife that I have a covenant with. None of that means my laws or my rules or my morals changed. It just means I entered into a different
There's many things, many laws that the New Testament doesn't talk about. The New Testament doesn't talk about bestiality. Does that mean Gentiles can commit bestiality? No. So you got to read that in the context. Can you read Revelation 2:6? Any of you?
Hold on.
I'd like to make a deposit. A big one.
Sure thing. How many slices we got?
Okay. But are not, and have found them false. You have persevered and have endured hardship for my name, and have not grown weary.
antinomianism, which makes it apart from mistake that men can freely partake in sin because the law of God is no longer binding. Jesus is telling you he hates that doctrine. You want to say, oh, that's the old law, so it's no longer binding to me. That's the doctrine of the Nicolaitans that Jesus is saying, break the law of God, it is no longer binding. So that's why we all tell you, this is what I'm finding out, because I'm always saying, again, I go back to the
Now, what is the go ahead? What do you think Paul said?
that he makes all things clean. I don't understand
No,
that.
Paul didn't say that.
Yeah, but that's in food. What is food though? But food, the Bible tells you what food is. Leviticus 11 tells you what food is. Pork is not food. And if you read the context, they were talking about eating without washing hands. They're not even talking about meat. They were talking about grain. That's the discussion. Is, oh, the Pharisees were telling Jesus, you have to wash your hands before you eat bread. And Jesus saying, no, food is clean. Bread doesn't become unclean just because you don't wash your hands. He's not talking about straight pork and lobster. That's not food to a Jew. It's like if you're speaking to, oh, I don't know, if you're speaking to an American, you're not going to talk about eating cats. Cats is not food to an American. It is to a Chinese, but you got to look at the cultural context. I'm going to look into that some more because, I mean, from my understanding, in a lot of pastors that only declare a lot of things about the Gentiles not having to uphold the law that was given to the common Israel. So, I mean, it's very different. Do you agree that
A lot of times Paul is saying, a lot of times Paul is saying people try to put the whole law on the Jews or on the Gentiles in order for them to enter into the covenant. The only thing you need to do to enter into the covenant is to believe on Christ. Once you believe on Christ, you enter in the covenant and then you walk with him. So you're gonna naturally do the things that God wants you to do, which the next two commandments is what? Love God with your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor. And as the text displays, the first half is about how to love God. The second half is how to love your neighbor. If you love your neighbor, you don't steal from him. You don't commit adultery with his wife. You don't covet his things. And if you love God, you only worship God. You keep his commandments. You keep his Sabbath day. And things of that nature.
And you know that every matter to be established needs two or three witnesses. Okay? So let's say even if I agree with you, even if I say, okay, Paul is teaching against the Torah, then the conclusion would be Paul is a false apostle. That would be the conclusion because
That's correct. Right?
yeah, that would be the conclusion because no one has the authority to abolish the law of God. That's the point. And you need at least two or three witnesses. So you can't just look at Paul. You got to understand what Paul is saying in the light of the other apostles, in the light of what Jesus is saying. You can't just take Paul and say, oh, Paul said this, therefore this. But I'm not against Paul. I just believe people don't understand what he's saying. You know?
That's exactly what my teacher said. Exactly. That's crazy. You should be a teacher. Right. You're saying that Paul was expanding Christianity and finding the problems, and people drastically and completely misunderstood him to be committing all the laws.
Yes, because we don't keep the law to be righteous. I get that. People have to understand that. I guess you agree with me, Smiler. We don't keep the law to be righteous. We keep the law because Jesus has made us righteous.
Yeah, the only thing that makes you righteous is the blood of Jesus.
Exactly. Remember, Jesus kept the law. Oh, go on. Exactly. So when you look at Jesus, exactly, you would agree that Jesus kept all the law because he was sinless, correct? He never broke the law. Yes, I agree with that. Right. So Jesus kept the law not to be righteous. He did it because he was already righteous, right? Right. Right. So we are to be like Christ. So Jesus justifies us. He makes us righteous in the eyes of God. So not only have we made righteous by the blood of Christ, we obey the law not to be righteous, but because we have been made righteous by the blood of Christ. That's literally the gospel.
So Jesus gives you the strength to keep the law.
Exactly. And the Holy Spirit, we can't do it without the Spirit. We can't do it without Jesus. This is why he's our high priest. I'm so proud of you, Smiler. I'm so proud of you. This is my favorite topic. I'm so proud of you.
Got so much flack for it, by the way. I said you got a lot of flack for defending the law.
Oh, right, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, when I would get into these arguments with some of the, it was mainly the Hebrew Israelites I would get into the arguments with. And then there's this one brother, my brother Josh, who I used to speak to as well. He wasn't a Hebrew Israelite, but I based on the same position that we have right now. And I just don't think you can win the argument. You can't remain consistent. You're gonna make Paul and Jesus look like double-minded hypocrites. And the best way to look at the information is that Paul and Jesus, like, it seems to me their main focus is the gospel, right? And so the gospel needs to be preached, so you don't go around sort of like trying to put your culture, because you're dealing with people that are a completely different culture than you. And so your goal isn't to go and tell people, hey, come follow my culture. Your goal is to preach Jesus, and then as they follow Jesus, they learn the ways of Israel.
Amen.
And actually, you will start to, keep more of his commandments, because you got to remember, like, these other people have laws and ways that are just not going to be in line with the ways of Israel. And so you can't just say, oh, well, as long as you're doing this, you can, like A was saying, you can't just say, okay, well, bestiality is okay in my culture, and Paul only told me stay away from meat sacrificed to idols, blood, and adultery, and now I'm good. No, there's going to be things that you can't do. And one example that I like to put is that if you're a business owner, you do not have the right to make your employees work 7 days a week. You got to give them a day off. And so if you think that you can make people work 7 days a week, you're breaking the Sabbath. And if you think that you have to give them a day off, then you just admitted that actually, no, I do have to keep the Sabbath.
Right. And if you look at Ephesians 4 or 5, I think it's 4, that Paul says Gentiles will be fellow citizens. Which city is he talking about? He's talking about Jerusalem, because that's the new kingdom. The new Jerusalem that comes down in Revelation, that's the kingdom of Christ, when Christ is going to come and rule for 1,000 years. They're going to be Jews and Gentiles. Do you think there's going to be a section for the Gentiles to eat pork and the Jews can't? Like, no. Like,
Yeah,
when you a fellow citizen, yeah. Do you think, like, come on. When you become a citizen of a country, you have to abide by the law of that country.
They're better than pork.
So if you a Gentile, they're going to come to the
In
city of
Jerusalem at the temple? Come on, man.
This is really hilarious.
Y'all better stop talking about this temple shit. This is not gonna happen, bro. This temple stuff is
He's a preterist, so.
Yeah, these things are not gonna happen, guys. Stop with this temple stuff. You guys really want to see, like, this would be a big problem if they guys
Bart,
think that.
tell me with a straight face that if your family had tickets to one of the temple sacrifices and you could fly over to Israel and see a bunch of Jews dressed up as priests bringing a sacrifice, you're telling me you would refuse that ticket?
I would probably cry the entire time they're doing the sacrifice. I would probably go there to see if it's literally happening, but I would probably be crying.
I'm sorry, you would go there to see if it's literally happening? You're welcome.
And then be upset.
That is a ticket worth buying.
It's literally like desecrating Christ. Like, there'd be no need.
Okay. If the Pope said it was okay, would you then be watching eagerly?
He's gonna have to give me some really good justification, like a 12
the Pope is
page
infallible. They said so.
Not
50 years
like
ago.
that. Not for stuff like that. That's crazy. That would be that would be insane if he's okay with sacrifice.
What do you have against
Actually,
one temple on one hill in one city?
The temple, I don't mind.
All right, one temple.
Plateau. No, temple.
Beautiful location. You gotta love the location.
Have you seen
Mount Moriah is everything, but I'm just saying. And I've been to Israel.
Well, I'm gonna just wait till it finished.
Very scared. I was very scared when I was there. You have to, when you get on the bus and you see the wall, it's like, it's very, I don't know, it's scary, bro. It's like being on a, to me,
I hear
it's
you.
being on a
It's
fucking
scary.
ride. It's like being on a roller coaster ride. And then you ask yourself, like, wow, why, really? You wanted me to see this for what?
Were you in the room last night when we were researching the Jerusalem syndrome?
The Jerusalem syndrome? What's that?
Yeah, what's that?
Oh my gosh, the Jerusalem syndrome is a recognized mental disorder that happens to people in usually Jerusalem, but Israel. There are similar other syndromes, like something's called like the Helsinki syndrome or something, but it's talking about Florence in Italy. And there's another one for Paris, the Paris syndrome, which happens to people from like Tokyo that go to Paris.
So what is the Jerusalem syndrome?
But the Jerusalem syndrome has some interesting markers. The person gets like separated from whatever group they had when they were there. They wander the streets. They usually take a hotel bed sheet and wrap themselves in a cloak, and then preach to everyone to return to simple things in life.
Really?
What?
And the most popular majority, the people that fall sway to this, are Southern Baptist Americans.
And who was the founder of this syndrome?
Okay, so I don't know who founded it. It only has been noted, and they get like at least 20 a year that had no prior mental health disorders. Those bigger numbers for like prior mental health.
Might be something spiritual. Who knows?
Sure. Listen, the rabbi said that prophecy was sort of pushed away to the children and the crazies.
Maybe it's the devil trying to create new prophets, false prophets.
Could be false prophets. You got to be careful with that. But it is, and they often have staff. I think they need to be protected in a single university.
That's a fact. It can be.
It
There's no-
can't be. See that?
There's no dualism yet.
Exactly. Can't be the devil. Thank you.
Okay, it's not a
Because he has to ask, first of all.
Exactly.
Okay, everybody, this is the Sun Tour performed by candidate John Kitover running in the 16th district to unseat and defeat Darren LaHood. From Rockford to Bloomington, Normal to Peoria, we are helping to liberate Illinois one congressional district at a time. This is your magical Sun Tour.
Right? According to us Christians. Of course. So remember it says that the nations have to come to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacle. That's Marla.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
right. They come.
Right. So it's just like how do they
I thought the
how do they
Gentiles didn't
explain
have
that
the
Jesus is
problem.
keeping right? You see what I'm saying? And it says if they don't come to celebrate it, that Jesus is gonna punish them.
Yeah, they'll give them famine.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's sweet.
That's right. Be there, be square. Feast of the Tabernacles.
Yep.
Need a temple to do it properly, guys.
Yeah, that's true. About that time.
Parmesan cheese in it.
I'd say, all right, so you want to know what I do? So I take, sometimes I do half pork, sometimes I do half ground meat. Sometimes it depends on my mood. We do like an 80-20. You know, it all depends. Then I take it and I put a few eggs, and I put a few eggs. I put
Don't tell me you're nothing with that Aldi's like pre-made breadcrumb shit that tastes like.
I got the breadcrumbs. I use Four Seasons.
Breadcrumbs. He said Four Seasons breadcrumbs.
Oh, all right, okay, that's how.
Give him space, man.
Force it, and I put them in.
You don't sell Four Seasons in fucking Aldi's, man.
Who says I don't buy everything in Aldi's?
Yeah.
He's one of the places
My bad.
purchases.
I was gonna say.
We shop around.
Oh, alright, yeah, that makes sense, man. My bad.
Yeah, so veterans are expensive.
Don't you come into this house and disrespect Aldi's.
You disrespect me while you talking to me like that.
Aldi's is the best. But it's not the only place. It's not the only place.
I think
What kind of tomatoes do you use? I use like the Canto San Marzano.
I use the grape tomatoes. They're made in Israel.
Some olive oil.
fake Christians remember that. Like nothing. And Burton's just fake. You have
It's all about keeping the law. You guys are talking about nothing the law here.
You're a fake Catholic anyway.
What about you guys not receiving the Eucharist? I mean, that's all you gotta do. Or venerating Mary. Like, what about me?
Huh?
Abide by some of your
Say that again.
venerating Mary,
When?
blood and body, and the Eucharist.
How is that about Mary?
Venerating Mary?
You're talking about the communion, like when they did the Passover?
Venerating Mary, like
What that got to do with Mary?
No, I'm saying there's two things. I'm saying venerating Mary and doing the Eucharist every time you go to Mass.
Is Mary of minimized import in the Ethiopian Christian tradition?
Don't know anything about Ethiopian.
Well, I'll tell you, the Europeans go bonkers for Mary. Like shit.
Like you guys are. I don't know how I don't.
She got convicted by the law. That's what happened.
She just got convicted. That's all it was.
Yeah, she's like, damn, I know I gotta throw away the fork in my house.
Yo, she's just being a Christian 2 years ago, and then she's gonna come and tell us like, oh, we're doing it wrong. No, I never. I didn't know. People be in their feelings. I don't get it.
The word of God is a sharp, double-edged sword.
We don't want to come here no more because we had it.
And she even contradicted herself. She said Jesus in Matthew 5, he's talking to Jews, but then she then says Mark 7, Jesus said all things are clean. So according to your logic, he's still talking to the Jews. All things are clean to the Jews, not to you. So it's, she was just contradicting herself.
Yeah, it's true.
I never really like his argument over there with all foods are clean.
Could you be contradicting yourself but still be right?
Yeah, but we know she's wrong.
Yes. Chances are, if you're contradicting yourself, you are right because you've overstepped the boundaries.
He got really upset
being
over
right or wrong.
He got really upset because you know. Did he do it for no reason? She couldn't get over that.
But she didn't say nothing to us, though.
She messaged me saying she not coming back here no more. I don't know what the fuck
Tyler, did we overtalk her?
That's wild. Nah. I don't know what she's even talking about.
This victim type thing is annoying as hell.
Yeah, for real.
Yo, it be mad dark in here too. And I don't really think a lot of white people like hanging out with me. I'm keeping it real, so this is how I like it. You don't want to hang out in here? Too dark in here?
Put her in the Israelite room.
That's right.
If they think it's too dark in here, maybe they feel like it's too dark in here. You know?
So I don't like when
I think a lot of people get offended over that. See me, I don't.
I do. I start checking my pockets frequently.
I think, I don't know why people be in their feelings about these basic conversations. Like, these conversations are not even that serious. Like,
And we're not gonna change your life. You can still leave and still do what you want to do. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
I am. I'm open about this shit that I'm different about. Y'all make fun of me about it. I don't care.
Well, I've been studying virology since 2008, and the amazing thing is that most people do not get that sick from you know what I'm saying? And Iran has the technology to fucking attack all of these oil reserves. And if they do that, I mean, they'll be out of business. They'll have to shut down the business, shut down the country. Saudi Arabia will be out of money. Because they have all this money invested in like a whole bunch of different countries. America, you have other countries that they have invested money in. So, they have to keep making X amount of money to be able to operate and be able to donate and do this and that. And if they don't have any money coming in, and I used to think that why are you such fucking relying on oil? Why don't you open up your own thing? Like, all countries, they found a way.
They're trying. With the whole oil thing
on a Canadian passport. You know his income went up, his salary went up 1.5 times.
What's your origin? Where are you from?
I'll tell you about it in a smaller room. We have Zionists come back in the audience right now, like Rabbi.
Okay.
And we have the anonymous account that's probably recording.
It's come back. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Free speech, baby.
I know, but these idiots, they're trying to find information on it. But, that's how it is. You just gotta be, careful. I think they're about to do a raid. A whole bunch of,
A lot of people are leaving TikTok, I heard.
oh yeah, so this new app called,
Censorship that they have.
I downloaded this new app called Upscroll, but it's missing some features. Right, it's the exact copy of Instagram for right now, but you can't really do live. But you can upload videos, up to 20 minutes videos. You can upload pictures. I've been doing it, every day, and I got I think up to 25, 30 followers so far in the last 2-3 days.
Where is the servers hosted? Not in the States, are they?
Twitter's good. Twitter. No, but the Twitter, they took away, so we have that brother Suleiman Ahmad on Twitter. He's like huge. He's an investigative journalist. He did so many fucking rooms on this against the Zionists after 7th of October. He even dismantled the whole narrative, the 7th of October bullshit that they've been spreading around. You know what the Israeli IDF did? IDF is on Twitter. They put his name on one of the rockets and shot at Gaza. That's how disturbed the IDF in Israel was because of him getting. He used to have 3, 4, 5,000 people in this space every day.
What's happened to him?
They took away, so they got triggered so badly, they mass reported him, did a whole bunch of shit, and they took away his monetization from Twitter. He's got almost 1 million followers on Twitter.
Yeah, you're gonna have
so he can't monetize it. Yes, Rabbi, what do you want to say today?
No, I'm just checking in.
Checking in? Is it attendance check?
Rabbi, I went to your school.
Let me put a check mark right next to your name. Hold on.
Very cool.
Let me call on everybody's name. Like Rabbi, I'm here. Let me put a check mark. Like the idiot.
So God had Zionism part of his plan, and there's a region called Israel. He named it Israel. Yep. To be part of the part of his land.
All of God's creation is God's creation. The point is that the place of Israel, this region, is where his descendants from Jacob was delivered. They do pretty specific precepts of the Torah, I believe.
I just want to be uploading with this video.
Hi guys, hi Amir, hi Karnak.
I'm trying to come up, but at least say hello to us, Introduce yourself, you can go back down. We don't bite here, man. It's all respect.
So, Fire, did you know that God is a Zionist?
If you can hang on a second, what's up with you, brother?
Yo, what's good, Amir? Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for coming out. I wanted to give you a follow back. I wanted to see if it's a real person. You've been on the Palestinian side? You've been supporting the Palestinians?
Of course, all the way.
Alright, cool. Do you want to chime in just for Raza Pahlavi really quick? What do you think about it?
Fuck Raza Pahlavi.
Thank you for coming out. Right? Just give me a follow back.
For sure. You gotta approve.
Anyways, Kartik, sorry I interrupted you. I just wanted to make sure he's not an AI. But it's a go on, Kartik.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to swallow this whole thing, but God being a Zionist.
That's something stupid. That is stupid as well, and it's probably Black Rock.
Black Rock said that, but I don't understand. Can you read the word? It says that in the Torah, though?
God wanted his children to reign in the land of Zion. It's like all throughout the books of the prophets. It's all thing. It's over and over. King David, King Solomon.
Land of Zion. Land of Zion is not two different things. Land of Zion.
It's the same. The reason that comes from people may not embrace the whole concept of God. It's the show, the creator of the universe. Power. This is right.
Kartik, here's the problem with this rabbi character's position, right? So you have atheist, agnostic, right, coming into this land, named Theodore Herzl. The Theodore Herzl didn't even come to law. You have Theodore Herzl, the founding father. You have the Jabotinsky, another founding father. You have Eliezer ben Yehuda, that's another founding father, because he's the one that revised the language that they speak inside Israel, right, that modern Hebrew. Same ways, you had the Rothschild, right? Majority of them, Ben Gurion, were atheists or agnostic. They didn't believe in the scripture. Then this guy believes it, right? And yet they established a state. It was only like a safe zone for the Jews. That's what they wanted to do. On the ships when they were coming in, please allow us in here, please. A lot of countries denied their ships. British denied it. U.S. in 1939 denied a ship full of 600 Jews. And their reason was that there might be some Nazis amongst them. That's why. So they denied the whole fucking ship. They're like, nope. And when they came to British land in Palestine, there was a lot of animosity, but some of them did welcome them.
Well, it's obvious that Black Rabbi has been drinking the Zionist Kool-Aid.
No, I'm about unity of all people.
They injected him with Zionism. When he went over there, they handcuffed him and the man whooped him. Did you see his video?
Dennis, the bull is here. It's time for your bull rush, Dennis. Dr. Dennis's bull rush.
He was dust on his boots, she was dirt on her dress. Met in the back of a church, both a little bit wrecked. He said, I've chased every thrill, she said, I run every road. They lay by the light of His grace, wisdom and truth, making one out of two by the word of the Lord of all things. He forgets where he leaves his pride. She reminds him who he is. They still argue over small things, but they always end in a kiss. Open Bibles on the table, little fingerprints on every page. They're raising up a little choir, teaching tiny hearts to praise, to become true in the hand of the Father, heart into heart, under one holy name. You and me, babe, at the feet of our Maker, learning to love by the light of His grace, wisdom and truth, making one out of two by the word of the Lord of all things. When the storms roll over the valley and the dark feels heavy and long, we remember the voice that called us, spoke our weakness into a song. I am yours, you are mine, but above us stands a higher vow.
Okay, Dennis, this is your song, Dennis. This is called Bull Rush of Holy Spirit for Dr. Dennis. Thanks for all your support over all these years, Dr. Dennis. Dr. Dennis, this is your bull rush. This is a reverse bull rush for qualified investors only. You have to have a minimum of $250,000 cash. That means you got to have a minimum of about $2 million. This is the Kosher Shekel Fund.
Oh, it's John. How you doing, John? Hasn't been figured out. You have how many?
I'm good, John. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent, sir. What about you?
John, what have you noticed about your life whenever you meet another John? Are you happy that you know another John? Because I love all the Johns that I know, and really I love them because of our name. And if you read the Bible, I mean, our good name is right there, and it's the precursor to the Messiah. It's such a consequential name. It's almost as important as Jesus itself.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but...
Are you? No, he baptized Jesus. His head was cut off for Christ's sake. It's an important metaphor. It is the precursor to the Messiah. It's in the book, our name. I'm just saying, it's something to always remember. Even if your name is Mark. I know people named Luke. Why do you think Luke Skywalker is Luke Skywalker, my friend? It's in the book.
There's probably something behind it. A lot of those things are really interesting, but Yeah, no, actually, John, you know, when there's other Johns, this is when I was a very small child, we had this church that we went to, and there was about 6 or 7 kids, 6 or 7 only, and there were 3 John Lees in there. Because so we had to go by John Lee 1, John Lee 2, and John Lee 3, and I was John Lee 3. This is how common the name is. Not only John, but John Lee. I went to Rio one time in Las Vegas, and there was, I forgot what he said. I think it's a room of like 6,000 or something like that. But 40 of them were registered under John Lee. I said, how is that even possible? Right? Must have been a bunch of Koreans having a convention. Who knows what? I don't know. But yeah, this name is so common that I have to throw in my middle initial all the time, just to parse it out. But yeah, and just the first name John, not just my last name. I see Johns all the time. Everywhere I go, there's another John.
It's feng shui. It's feng shui or gematria. 4 is the number of letters in John, and Li is 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 is 1 plus 2 is 3. So it's all about the feng shui or the connection between numbers and names.
And one thing, John, I just launched a YouTube channel a few hours ago. And according to Bob, I need 50 subscribers in order to stream what I'm doing. This is for
pin your link.
In my community.
Pin it.
It's in the chat.
Well, can you pin it? Because then I can just click it. I can't, I'd have to go to the browser and then go back to the YouTube.
I can pin it, but
Food for Christ Ministries?
Yeah.
I thought it was Fool.
Well, this is something different. This is for the clubhouse only. Now, the Food for Christ Ministries is actual offline and something on the street.
See, I can't get to it. See, you gotta pin it because I literally, you have to make these things quick, easily, and accessible to people that want to click.
I agree.
That means just go to your YouTube, copy and paste it, and go back to here and update your link. It's very simple to do. You got 22 more minutes left. Make the most of your opportunity now.
Okay, you talked me into it, sir. So I'm gonna copy the link.
John, my favorite part of your 2-hour Clown House experience every morning in your full room is your closing prayer. That's my favorite part. I really feel the positive vibrations in your closing prayer, so I thank you, sir.
You know what? Started this actually is a guy by the name of JJ. He actually recommended that I do that. And I said, that's a good idea. And I did that, and then I added to that by opening prayer. And I think, along with, that's why I was so reluctant to change this in link here, because I want the Bible passage, there all the time. But I'll do exactly what you said. And at the end of the day,
You'll have 50 subscribers before you can blink.
We'll see. I think a lot of people will want to view what I'm doing, and so I think you're right. I think that'll probably happen because I think there's a lot of people motivated to want to watch a live stream, and it's not dependent upon me. It's dependent upon them to subscribe. And so I've been reluctant for many. I've seen YouTubers like my friend James Tired. I was one of his first 100 subscribers, and he has I don't know how many tens of thousands right now. And I've known John Kerry. I've known a lot of people. Jake the Muslim physician. Whole bunch of people thousands, even over 100,000 viewers now, or subscribers. But I was always averse to it. The monetization really rubbed me wrong. I did not whatsoever want to be involved in that. But this, I'm okay with because I know every dime is going to go help feed the homeless. And so there's no administration cost for me. There's nothing. Right? I don't even want anything. It's every single dollar coming in here is going to go to buy something for the homeless, to feed them. Because there are a lot of needy people in my neighborhood, in my community. And I know it's not maybe not part of your community, but I'm thinking about possibly expanding at a different day to like maybe Wednesdays at a place in Santa Ana, or no, it's not Santa Ana, but City Orange, at a park there. Very much a lot of needy people there, and I know that because I have an RV and I go to parks a lot to just hang out. Man, they're just there all day. They look pretty bummed out. I think they would enjoy a meal. So this is what I want to do, and hopefully, if you guys participate in any manner, I'd appreciate it. Even if you pray for it and you see things grow, you can feel a part of it. And I'm excited about this. I am excited about this. I'm excited about this because, like, number one, like, when I think about it and all the things that I've done in my life, this is what I want to do. It feels great to know what one really wants to do. And
is that Augustus? Yo, what up, Augustus? Hello? That is like probably, you know, if you're in the military, you got to have a secret passcode to get into the perimeter, you know? So, like, if you're approaching, you know, a soldier and it's your base, it's like you got to have a call sign. So, it's the ultimate call sign. Hello? Because think about that. Like, the German, the French, the Italian, like, if they can't do that back without an accent, you know that they're not part of the hello gang, basically.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
It is funny, isn't it?
Dude, it's so funny, bro. I even have my wife doing it, and she doesn't even go on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Like that. It's just so
Your
funny.
wife, I've heard her say it a lot.
X-Face is saying that too.
What's your wife's name? Michelle?
No, it's Steph.
Oh, Steph. You know why I keep thinking Michelle is because I had this good manager that I worked with, and but yeah, your wife is dope. And what's your son's name? Oh yeah, Augustus Jr., right?
Yeah, AJ. Augustus Jr.
Oh, AJ. Well, that's like supposed. And is it? Oh, I see.
Working on a website design today.
You know, I made one for Kennedy.
Be interested in this. So they're going to go into beta test. If you want to become an early user or early adopter to it, I'll hook you up.
Yeah, I'm down to try anything, you know.
So find your mentor and basically sign up and courses that people pay monthly fees to take. So you could like it could be anything. It could be like you could teach people about the books that you read and do like a book reading class, and people will
Are you working for the company or are you investing in it?
They offered me a position as a partial owner, but I'm just doing their web design right now as like a contract, and they loved it so much they were like, "Can you do our marketing next, and we'll give you a percentage of the company in the salary."
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm just like, "Yo, let's just get this thing out the door because I wanna start offering classes." I got a couple ideas, so I'm gonna teach people how to use the AI video and AI imagery artwork programs. So it'll be like this week you can learn how to use Midjourney. Next week you learn Nano Banana. The next week you learn Chat LGBT.
Yeah. I've seen like
people like $50 a month or whatever, and then promote it on my Instagram and on my X Spaces.
yeah, I've seen these types of like, university or subscription or access to this, publishing. And the thing is, I'll be happy to try it. Are you using Rumble?
No.
So Rum is the ticker symbol for Rumble, and I don't have the patience. I think it sucks. I've never even been able to successfully create an account. I've like once, and I uploaded a long form video, like an hour long thing. But I will definitely beta test, and try this app or website, whatever, I'll be happy. I have so many videos I can upload. I've been doing Sora now on like 20 phones. I have so many. Just go on Sora and type in John Kitover, and you're gonna laugh your ass off.
Well, like a great example of what you could do with this new emerging tech is offer people a class on how to make the cool Sora stuff, and charge people, $10 a month. And I'm gonna invite Michael up. So I just met Michael maybe like a week or two ago through my friend Dustin Stockton, who's in Florida. Michael is in Florida as well, and we've been in communications via email. I'm gonna invite him up. Can you send him an invite?
Yeah, I sent it to him.
My invite worked. He's up. Hey, what's up, Michael?
Hey man, what's going on, bro? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just catching up
John?
with my friend John.
Hey, Michael.
Hey man, you in Chicago?
Yep.
Right on. Yeah, I live down here in Southwest Florida, down in Fort Myers. We got quite a bit of contingency of folks from the Chicago area down here.
Yeah.
You're actually running for Congress, Jim Oberweis. You know Jim?
Mr. Oberwise.
Yeah, Jim Oberweis. We also have Catalina Lauf. She ran against Jim up in Illinois.
John ran for Congress out in Chicago.
I'm still running. I'm a write-in candidate.
Yeah. What are you not running as a Republican?
I am, but they removed me from the ballot. Insufficient signatures, so I'm a write-in candidate.
God. Fucking, I don't know how you guys deal with the politics up there, bro. I can imagine. I mean, I live in the complete opposite bubble that you guys live in, right? Or that you live in. It's nothing but Democrats up there. We don't have any elected Democrats here. Not at the local, not at the state, or national level. I mean, we live in a very conservative bubble down here.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to build a network down there. I'm in DC, so I built a nice network here in DC of Republicans, and have been doing like work here and there for people around the country.
Bro, I saw your fucking email, man. What are you talking about? That's kick ass. You were working with Kennedy, man. That's pretty impressive, man.
Thank you. Yeah, and basically, man, like we moved out here so my wife could help him out at HHS. And she, is like a political appointee. When this gig is up, if he gets impeached or, both wash the face, right? Anything I could do for you, you know, anything you could do for me, we'll help each other, you know, along the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, bro. Yeah, so, you know, I spent the first, so I was born and raised in Palm Beach County, and, you know, I live over here on the southwest coast now, 2 hours south of Tampa, and 2 hours west of West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and the Gulf of America, baby. And, you know, I'm still a licensed real estate broker, so if you guys want to come down here and purchase real estate, you can actually do it using Bitcoin or Ethereum. Right, I'm a certified crypto real estate broker. But, you know, I got into politics back in 2019 leading up to the 2020 election. And, you know, at that time, you know, I watched fake news. I fought Fox News, which is the same as fake news. You know, very conservative. Yeah, you know, I was a registered Republican at 18 years old, but I never got off the couch to help a Republican. But when Trump came, I mean, that was totally different, you know, being in real estate. You know, I had traveled, you know, to Atlanta and other places and went to conferences where Trump spoke at, you know, regarding real estate, dating back to the early 2000s. You know, so you can imagine my surprise and excitement, you know, when he decided to get into politics, because that's what we really need, a business person to come in here and run it versus these, you know, career politicians who just up here for self, you know, glory and grifting off the system and all that stuff.
Elitism, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. You know, so I went down, I had a friend of mine, we all get together and have breakfast at this little place every morning. I grew up outside the city, you know, so it's kind of rural, you know, laid back a little bit. But the guy who owned the restaurant, he was like, Michael, he goes, every time you come in here, you start running your mouth. He goes, when you like captivate the room and, you know, you get everybody fired up. And he goes, why don't you go down and join the local Republican Party? And I was like, what? I was like, the local Republican Party? You know, I've lived here for 25 damn years. I never knew that. It just goes to show you how well the Republican Party messages, right? So anyway, I went down there and I met with the chairman and the secretary, and I was like, look, I'm here to, you know, help President Trump win the 2020 election. And they go, oh, that's awesome. You know, we need, you know, great Republicans that help get all of our Republicans reelected. And I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit about that. I was like, I'm here for Trump. And that was kind of like the shot across the bow. Well, 2 years later, you know, they voted me in as chairman and kicked those people out. And, you know, the rest is history. You know, I worked for Lieutenant General Flynn. You know, I hosted a fundraiser for the president 2 years ago.
Yeah, I met General Flynn this year. I received an award from Auntie Angie's house, Angela Stanton Kim's organization, alongside with Robert Malone and General Michael Flynn. We all got awards, and I got to meet him there, and he gave me his phone number and everything.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He really is.
Dude.
He's fighting a good fight, but, you know, like a lot of people in the grassroots part of politics, they understand their country's on fire, they understand their state's on fire, their city's on fire, but, you know, there's a big difference between, you know, being grassroots and actually understanding how politics is played. You know, that's why I think Trump does really well, because he's a businessman. He knows the passion and what needs to be done, you know, but he doesn't do a lot of things are done with people who don't care about the Constitution, you know, and they have all the power, and that you're going to have to sit down at the table with them and negotiate with them. You can't just walk into their office screaming and hollering and cussing them out, because you're not going to get anywhere. You know, you're going to have to sit down and, you know, do some hardcore, you know, tough conversations with people.
Are you in do you have any kind of like relationship with the existing chair, GOP Lee County?
Yeah, she's not a fan of me, and I'm not a fan of her. Yeah, she kind of hoodwinked us all. You know, when I said that, I only served one term because, you know, we took the party over.
Is that my benefactor, Luke? Get your ass up here, Luke.
Thousands of dollars in the bank.
Got my car out of fucking tow and locked downtown Chicago.
I never wanted to be chair.
Blessings to you, Luke.
Get other people to run for the chair. And they were like, oh, yeah, I want to be chairman. And I was like, okay, well, you're going to have to challenge the current chair. And they're like, oh, no, we're not doing that. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, you're not the leader I thought you were. You identify a problem, but you're unwilling to do anything about it.
Health, wealth, love, Luke. Sugar to earth. Luke, you'll know it to be true. It can't be true. Search your feelings, Luke. To join me, Luke, and together we will strike down the Emperor and rule the galaxy! No, you can't be my father! It's impossible! Is that the quote? I think I got the quote right. That's from Star Wars.
I sat on the state executive board committee. I know almost everybody in state politics here, and I know Joe Gruters. Me and Joe Gruters, who's the current chairman of the RNC. Me and Joe were pretty much the only two Trump guys on the state executive board during the 2024 campaign. And me and Joe worked together.
Okay, let's go back to the Fools for Christ ministry.
And then if you notice, I don't even spend time anywhere else now. I don't spend time on Discord. I'm already busy doing this other thing, by the way. And so the difference is this 2 hours every morning that used to be a dread. It was like, oh, I want to call in sick. Now it's like, oh, I can't wait to open up another room. I just want to glorify Christ because He's real. He's so good. And if anybody ever reads the Gospels, especially the Gospel of John, you literally see how good Jesus is. He heals. He weeps. He, basically gives us the truth. He gives us His life. Shows us the way. And I want anyone who has an ear to hear to be able to turn from their sin and see God and His kingdom first and His righteousness.
We got one live streamer. One live streamer out of like 20 phones.
All these things will be added to us. This is a promise from God. And He promises.
That's it. We got one viewer.
This is
one viewer. It doesn't matter. It
God
doesn't matter how many phones you have on.
It is always truthful. It's always reliable.
Look, I have like 20 YouTube live streams going, and there's one person watching. That's it.
So anyway,
it's very boring, but Luke, is there anything you want to say? We're listening to John Lee preach. We're also listening to Augustus in an X space called Buy Bitcoin Talk to some Republican in Florida.
I thank you that.
Oh, John Lee's crying.
You really care for us. And sometimes we don't recognize that because we're so self-involved in our own fleshly desires.
Like they're bankrupt, bro.
But this desire,
okay, let's get away from
leads to death.
Let's start focusing on Florida. That's where it's
and
at.
So may we have a hunger
and
a thirst for you,
my connections down there, and
that we may
I
live
started
and be satisfied.
really having this conversation with Dustin.
And so I pray that you watch over each and every one of us.
Yeah.
Well, this is John Lee closing prayer.
And that you may show yourself to be good, that we may taste and see that you are good. And be glad in it. And so I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. And so God bless everybody. And have a blessed day.
Oh, that's the closing prayer, John Lee, everybody.
Not even locking in from the position he said he was going to lock in from. That's one of the main issues as well.
That.
It was cold as shit up there, man. I couldn't.
Yeah, it was like a snowstorm.
Bro, it was like 5 degrees. I'm born and raised here in South Florida, man. I mean, when we get over here, from 75, 77 pound up in a jacket on here, so it was pretty tough for me last year being up there at that time. But I just got we were going to get a super burger. That's what you're going to do like that.
super cheesy burger and a chocolate milkshake.
Cast today. With
Raw eggs and things. Can I get the a chocolate milkshake?
A regular size or large?
A regular.
Hell yeah. That's going to take some time to cook. Listen out for when that buzzes. You'll come back and then it's ready to go.
Yeah, I'm
super down.
It's the day after the full moon.
web development, social media,
Back to the current weight for the most delightful
she's now
cheeseburger
breaking
of
into
your life.
PR this year.
Yeah.
A contract
Super
about
dog.
somebody
Super
who works with RFK Jr. getting him on media outlets. So we've got
Last
that
time I was here, my car battery died.
and
This time,
that's like Fox News, CNN,
it's super
everything.
dog.
She can get you on like same day.
Okay.
Depending on
How expensive is that?
it depends on the budget.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, if you got an unlimited budget, it's going to be pricey and how much you want to be on there and stuff. But the problem is, a lot of a lot of America First candidates. I mean, they have really good talking points, but and God bless them, but they have no funding. They have very little social followings, so it's tough, to get behind those people. Not to say that they couldn't do a good job, but when you go to campaign, I mean, you got to have a name that's recognized in the community. You got to be able to fundraise on your own. You got to be able to get your own endorsements. That's when bigger groups, can come in and take you from, here to a lot higher level. But there's so many America First candidates that all they have is talking points. They got to be able to bring the whole package if they're truly going to compete.
Look at Fishback, he's America First, and all he's got is a Twitter account,
I got a retard, bro. I'm sorry, I'm a huge Byron Donalds fan. Byron's my congressman.
I think he's great too.
Yeah, I knew Byron before he ran for Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah, Byron's my guy. I was actually just texting with one of his close advisors this morning. Byron endorsed me back in 2023 when I was a freshman at the Republican Party of Florida. He endorsed me publicly to become the vice chairman of the state party as a freshman. And it was wild, bro, because most people were just like, man, who the fuck is this dude coming out of nowhere? I've done some things politically in 5 years that a lot of people haven't done their entire career, and it pissed off a lot of the Republicans within the old party, because they're kind of like, man, what the hell's going on here? But yeah, Fishback, he's got a lot of baggage from his private life. Of course, the way that he's attacking Byron and all this other stuff, it's not going to end well for him. His fundraising's horrible.
Yeah, fundraising's in the gutter.
Yeah, it was reported that he raised $900. His first campaign filing report. Byron's sitting over here with $45 million in the bank. That's what I'm saying. These guys might have good talking points, but if you don't have a known name, whether it be through politics or be through your personal, career and work or whatever it is, the system, the way the system is set up, it just makes it that much harder for those individuals to, gain any traction.
Yeah, 100%. The one thing with Byron, though, that I think he needs help with is like his graphic design and his video. Like, he's got an amazing fundraising machine, which is 80% of a campaign. But what I think he needs help with is messaging, and I think he needs to be unafraid of debating, and really get trained up.
An action hero runs for Congress. He's
have the proper team behind him to.
I'd like to make a deposit.
Being able to just slaughter in debates. So messaging. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Byron relies a lot on going on, Fox News and the
national news and stuff like that. I get it. I mean, he's, you know, a high-profile figure, you know. You know, I reached out to Byron and I was like, hey, I got the president to come speak. Something happened to you. How did you get the president to come and speak? And I was like, I know some people. I'm good friends with Roger Stone. And got him to come over here. You know, and when I was backstage with the president and Byron, I had already knew, you know, years ago that Byron was going to run, you know, for governor once DeSantis was over. That was one of the reasons why President Trump didn't pick him to be the vice president. From what I understood, it came down between J.D. Vance and Byron. But, you know, politically speaking, you know, Trump didn't need Byron. It could have been helpful for the black vote, you know, but, you know, we don't need like two Trump guys, you know, so Trump had to reach out to the quote unquote, you know, other side of the party, you know, which, you know, J.D. Vance was, you know, declared never Trumper, you know, to try and unite the party a little bit. Plus Don Jr. was really pushing him because they're good friends. You know, but I knew Byron was going to be running for governor, and when I was in that room with the president and Byron's kids came into the room back then, and his youngest boy ran all the way across the room and jumped up into President Trump's arms, and I looked at Byron and I was like, no shit. I was like, man, you got it like that, bro? He goes, yeah, me and the president are really close. You know, so when the president came out and said, hey, I know somebody who would be really awesome for the next governor of Florida, that would be Byron Donalds. You know, that was kind of like a setup. That was already like pre-planned. You know, and then about a week or so later, that's when Byron actually announced. But, you know, he's got the national following. He's got all that. Everyone knows who he is here locally. But, you know, I understand he doesn't want to get into debating, you know, with Fishback and Jay Collins and Paul Mayer and shit like that because he's so far ahead of the polls. You know, but we're still early. You know, I'm sure there'll be a governor debate. There's no doubt about that.
I would love to work on his campaign, man. You know, I think that...
Yeah, the people who running his campaign were the guys that were heavily involved with the president's campaign. President Trump basically gave him his presidential campaign and said, here you go.
Got it. Yeah, I would love to work with the president's team too, but I mean, I asked RFK Jr. if I could do that, and to no avail has that manifested. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like to see Kennedy do a lot more than he's done. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, he came out and said, hey, let's get rid of, you know, Big Pharma from advertising on television. You know, like he got rid of, you know, tobacco from advertising. I would love to see that, you know. I mean, that's, you look at the network televisions, bro, that's like 60-70% of all their advertising comes from, like, you know, Big Pharma. If you could do that, you could probably stop a lot of the, you know, the biased fake news, the shit that comes out because they're heavily supported by Big Pharma.
100%, dude. I want to see a whole bunch of crazy shit happen, like the 5G shit. That shit's gotta go. The chemtrails have gotta go. I mean, you name it. Nah, I'm pushing it. I have a Instagram that has like 235,000 followers on it, and it's basically an RFK support channel. And what I do is I'm like, do you support him banning, you know, something, right? Something he hasn't talked about yet. And people are like, yeah. And then I'll float it by his team and be like, yo, look, you know, everybody wants him to do this. And people would support that. So then he'd be like, okay, you know, let's work on that. And we did it with Coca-Cola first. And then we did it with the chemtrails, and now he's got like a chemtrail board. background on the social media side, right? And getting like 100,000 people to get behind it, you know? Because some of them, like, they'll go viral, you know, be like 100,000 likes, 2 million, 3 million views, you know?
Yeah.
So,
John, what are you up to with your campaign? Who are you running against?
I'm running against Darren LaHood in the 16th district, which is like Rockford, Peoria, Bloomington, Normal. It's the top and center of Illinois. It's the 16th district, and it's been a really amazing journey. I'm living my best life, and I got to get to the gym pretty soon. Hello.
this is his first time doing it. And I've encouraged him to do it. He's not doing like the best job. You know, John's doing it with his heart and with the right intention. And I'm happy that he's getting into local politics. And while he asked me to work on his campaign, and I wasn't able to do that, you know, I think what he's doing is great. You know.
Yeah, 100%, man. We need people to step up. You know, it's critical that, you know, people that have the passion and, you know, mentality to be a leader, you know, step up and lead, because that's what we're missing in this country.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. We met on another app called Clubhouse. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I've heard of it. I wasn't around when it was popular.
Yeah, I was a beta tester on it with him, and we made friends back then, and yeah, I ended up growing a channel on there that got to like 100,000 followers, and that's where I met a lot of people in politics, a lot of people, like in the entertainment industry, tech industry. You know, it was pretty cool when it was popular, but now it's ghetto.
Is it still around today?
Yeah, it's still around today, but it's like predominantly black and a lot of like white hate on there. Like, I'll go into a room and they'll be like, look at this male monkey. And just like, wow, straight up like white hate, bro. It's pretty crazy. So I don't go on there anymore.
You should make me a mod if you can in preservation of the human race, because that chick, Make It Pop, bro, those are the most pointless, schizo, stupid conversations in the fucking world.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough nowadays. So I've abandoned it. I gave everything over to my friend, who runs it now, my channel, and I'm just focused on my business.
That's wild.
Yeah, I got what I could out of it and peaced out.
Yeah.
You know,
There's some groups here on X Spaces that are kind of like that. There's a couple of groups that's, you know, kind of like all black, and they get together and they, you know, basically do nothing except, you know, bash white people, you know, from politics, you know, specifically. I've gone in there a few times and debated with them just to piss them off, and, you know, and they're just so, you
question for you, Augustus. Did you see the new Epstein disclosures with Bill Gates and Epstein talking about, you know, coronavirus and vaccines, et cetera, and the World Health Organization? Wacky even.
Yeah, I hope that the pandemic works. Yeah, all that language, I saw that. This show put a bunch of stuff out about that.
Balance, I don't know if you want to say anything, Balance, but you've been on here a long time. You know, it's an open stage. If you have anything you want to say, just speak up. Buy Bitcoin to me, you know, I'm kind of making fun of buy Bitcoin. You know, Saylor is just like, number one rule of Bitcoin is just always buy Bitcoin and never sell until, you know, even Epstein in his, you know, did you see the Bannon Epstein 2-hour interview? Did you watch it, listen to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, even Epstein's like, you got to pick your moments in the market, you know? But that was like a full disclosure. That was like a full projection on Epstein's behalf. That was supposed to be an undisclosed recording, and Bannon was holding that as like a blackmail beta orbiter over Epstein. But I guess Trump just endorsed Bannon. Did you see that like 2 days ago? He just put out this big promotion thing for Bannon. Maybe it was old. I don't know.
You know, my friend Dustin used to work for him. I'm on like some. I think he's a good guy. You know, he, you know, might have just got caught up, you know, interviewing the wrong guy. So, like
he's got a lot of ties to Jeffrey Epstein. He also has a lot of ties to China as well. But I don't trust him personally.
Roger Stone calls him Sneaky Steve. Like, if Roger Stone hates his guts, well, fuck him. I don't like him either. I'm with Roger Stone.
Yeah, I'm good friends with Roger.
I'm with Roger Stone. I'm with Roger Stone!
Yo, guys, I actually just got pinned to do a Zoom. I'm going to have to jump. Michael, wow, it was great getting to know you better. And, John, it was great catching up. Hopefully we can all reconvene later on today. Or, Michael, I'll definitely email you back. And, John, I'll catch you on the flip-flop, bro.
Yeah, man. Cool. Good talking to you. I'll give you my cell phone number.
Sounds like a plan. Alright, cool. Later, guys.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about Bannon. You know, there's a lot of folks in politics that just, you know, grift. I mean, I know he's obviously not a Democrat, but, you know, I think sometimes people get in a position, you know, where they have the spotlight on them, and sometimes they say things, you know, just to keep the spotlight there. I was kind of, you know, hoping Bongino, you know, would do something. You know, he did a lot of talking, you know, when he came into the administration.
I feel the same way, but you know what? This recent, all the cache of all this information coming out, like, I guess there's still even more. So, at this point, so many reputations have been destroyed that, like, Bongino could never have personally done that. It just has to, the information just has to be released. It's not about fucking Dan. It's just one dude who's just mixed up into the craziest fucking universe of, you know, Avengers, etc. in the world. So, I mean, but this disclosure is real, and not a lot of people have watched that Bannon Epstein interview. I think, you know, they said it was unintentionally leaked or released, but it has been reproduced and retransmitted across so many major platforms and channels that that Epstein conversation alone is worthy of, like, you know, conversation, analysis, etc., because it's like a full projection. It's like Epstein does not hold back. And the shit that Bannon says to him is so funny, and he roasts him, and he calls him the devil. And he's like, why would you say that to me? He's like, you have all the attributes of the devil. Like, Bannon is sitting there like, I can't believe this fucking guy just let me record him for 2 hours. And he's sitting there pontificating about God and philosophy and mathematics. It's like, but it's...
Where'd you watch that at? You got a link for it?
Just go on YouTube, type in Epstein Bannon.
Okay.
You'll find it. It's everywhere. It's on the biggest channels. Everybody has republished it. the biggest channels, because they can monetize that. It's like a, so many people around the world are intrigued by this, and it is an actual. It's almost like Epstein went on the Joe Rogan podcast, and they sat there and talked about the global economy, finance, fiat currency, fractional reserve banking, everything. Like, there's on YouTube, you can view the actual transcript, and so I was screenshotting the transcript because it's so unbelievable at the end when he starts calling Epstein the devil, and he's talking about Archangel Lucifer. Like, if you look at the transcript, you're like, what? If you look at it out of context, you're like, what? Like, you can't believe it. Hello? Anyways, yeah, you got to spend some time and watch it and think about it, because he's actually talking about, Epstein is a pretty well-read guy. He's sitting there talking about all the world's greatest philosophers, from Socrates on down and up, etc. It's kind of interesting, because he's talking about the mystery of life itself, meaning how does this whole giant system work? From Wall Street to the military to taxation to everything. Like, how is it all happening? He's sitting there talking about that shit.
Yeah, that's wild. I really never think he got too much attention until, everything started coming out about him. But I was never really politically engaged, all that much up until 2020.
Well, I helped.
Like, wow.
In Chicago, I helped, organize for Trump in 2015. We were creating fake book groups, Chicagoans for Trump. So we were very excited to see, him come down the elevator and issue his, proclamation. I mean, we couldn't believe it. We were like, this is the real solution. This is the real deal. Not this hope and change lies of Obama, who's just a fucking CIA agent married to a trans. I mean, the fiction is the truth. Like, the fiction is like so strange. We can't believe what's been happening. Let alone we're $40 trillion in debt, 10,000 soldiers later, 25 years of war to rearm Afghanistan with 60 billion of our equipment and to withdraw like that. What the fuck? I mean, I guess, crazy. They should have destroyed everything. They never should have left them all those weapons. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, you got to stop and think about it. 07, 08, man, if it wasn't for George Bush and all the bullshit that, those guys did, the war hawks, the establishment GOP, I mean, we had, Ronald Reagan, then it started going downhill from there. We had George Bush Sr., Bill Clinton, we had Bush Jr., right? And then after that, what did we get? We got Obama. Look how our country has deteriorated just since 2007, 2008, over the past 20 years. My daughter, she's 17. She was born in 2008, when Obama was president. All she's ever known was Obama, Trump. But of course, Barack had the first, 8 years, Trump had 4 years, Barack had the last 4 years with Biden, now Trump's in there again, and that was one of the things that got me off the couch and wanted to get involved politically, because I was sitting on my back porch one day in 2019, and, I had saw everything leading up over the past years prior, and, I was looking through the sliding glass doors, looking at my daughter, and she was in the house, and the little girl, and I was just sitting here thinking, good Jesus Christ, I mean, what the fuck happened to our country, right?
Dude, 9/11, man.
Media is so biased.
It's 9/11. 9/11 fucked everything up. It tilted the fucking, it reset the whole game. Like, they just cleared the chessboard.
Act and everything else, they allowed the deep state to basically come in and just take over and, like, not even hide it anymore and shit,
Well, I'm talking about really where we're at now in terms of the national debt, meaning that there's no debt jubilee. Like, if you're born today, wow, BOA just gave you $1,000, but you were just born with $450,000 in debt. What? Hello? Like, the numbers don't lie, and most politicians can't talk the numbers. They don't know the actual balance sheet. And they don't realize that the system, like, it's got $1 trillion and 200 trillion in debt. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at scale, from the towns to the cities to the Fed, like the amount of debt. And if you just go to usdebtclock.org and you look at, what the total debt is per citizen, uh, no one can stop working because everyone has to service the debt. Like, that's the debt bubble. Because it's the property taxes. I mean, you pay property taxes. You work in real estate. You see how property taxes drain. It's not an asset; it's a liability. Over 10 years, there goes 100,000 plus. Bye.
No.
But
our whole country's got a lot of work to do, and we need to have people that can stand up and speak out and be unafraid to do it. But the biggest obstacle they got is, overcoming the machine. And by the machine, I mean, the way the system's actually set up. It's almost damn near impossible to, be an incumbent because they have so much money backed by them, not only, through their own campaigns, but...
but look at Ron Paul. Look at Ron Paul. Look at Bernie Sanders. These are independents. Do you know how much Bernie Sanders has raised over his career? And he's still nonstop the biggest propagandist on the internet. He has raised $750 million since just the year 2000. So he's the biggest shylark of them all. Because did you see what he... Anyways, we could go on, but... dude, there are black swan characters who break through, but I'm not one of them. Like, I can't get virality, but you know who does is Augustus and his wife. They literally, in some ways, they helped Trump get into the White House because they were with Kennedy, and they were instrumental to Kennedy's messaging distribution. And without them, I don't think Kennedy would have achieved the communication successes that he did. He was pretty groundbreaking. And then he just threw it all in for Trump. But even the Democrats in every city still literally kept him on the ballot to try to cipher Trump votes for Trump. So, but he still pushed it because he was able to let everybody vote Trump. So, regime change is real. And I'm just like, to me, when you really think about all the shit that Trump went through, let alone having his ears shot off, and like, if you think about how the Democrats and the liberals, like, he's just one man against like 99%. You see what I'm saying? So like, it's a miracle that he is our president. Just in the same way that it was a miracle that Obama, with everything about him, is what became the fucking president. Like, it is like a movie where the Praetorian Guard just hoists up some new schmuck, and next thing you know, we got a new schmuck, Caesar, for 4 years. Because even Clinton's success is a miracle because of his relationship with Bush. Like, the fact that there is stuff about Bush being accountable is like, I don't believe it. Like, I can't believe it. There's things that I just can't believe. Like, why is it?
Can't believe or don't want to believe. I mean, is society that fucked? Is it a good question?
There's just no way. Like, it's got to be fake. There's no way somebody would eat intestines with children feces. Like, is it just like a joke? Like, because it's just a communication screenshot, right? I mean, anyways.
Yeah, we're in a 5th generation war. It's all about information nowadays, and controlling the minds of people.
Yep, I agree. See, that's the type of. But see, anyways, there was a news article today, just repeating the news, but it's like proven that these social audio, or TikTok in particular, and other platforms can actually lower the IQ substantially. So it's like not just mind control, it's time control and retardation inducement. But
yeah, that's because we have a lazy society. People don't want to put in the effort to actually, read the article. Clickbait is real. They try and capture you with, these headlines, but if you actually read the article, it'll actually probably contradict the headline. But people are for instant gratification. They want to be the first to reshare it. They want to be the first to go out here and talk about it. Like, for example, I had a good friend of mine. I work with the RWA group, a real world, asset in crypto. And, these guys, they're crypto people, but, not really, but they are. In the past couple days, they were like, oh my God, the market's tanking, and somebody said that, Satoshi sold 11,000 Bitcoin. I'm like, the fuck he did? I was like, who told you that stupid shit? And then you post something, in a Google Meetup that was a post from X. And I was like, did you guys look at Satoshi's wallet? Oh, no, we didn't do that. I was like, well, then you shouldn't be out here sharing stupid shit like that. I was like, the guy hasn't sold 11,000 Bitcoin. I go, that would be like fucking earth-shattering news if Satoshi's wallet moved. And then, just last night, the second night in a row, the same dude's like, oh my God, did you see, are you sure? Are you sure that Satoshi's wallet didn't sell 11,000 Bitcoin? And he posted another article off of X. And I clicked on it and I read it, and it said Satoshi Era Whale sold 11,000 Bitcoin. I go, did you even read the headline? I go, it says Satoshi Era, meaning the time frame of OG Bitcoin people, a whale who got into Bitcoin earlier sold 11,000 Bitcoin. I go, but also read the article because it says he sold 11,000 Bitcoin for $850 billion. I go, that doesn't even math. That math doesn't math, right? I was like, and then contradicted to this article that says a whale from the Satoshi era, sold 11,000 Bitcoin in November of 2025, 2 months ago. And those 11,000 Bitcoin that he sold in November was worth $1.3 billion. And the article that you just posted said 11,000 Bitcoin sold yesterday was valued at $850 billion. How did we go up, 850% in value just in 2 months on the price of Bitcoin? It's like, you fuckers need to you need to stop sharing shit like this, because it ain't nothing but misinformation and clickbait, bro. And that's what these guys do on X. They're all about engagement. They're only trying to get people to comment and repost their shit so Elon can write them a bigger check every month.
Yeah, it's pick and choose as you please, there's just never-ending clickbait, and people want to play. There's just an infinite number of hosts, an infinite number of... I have a feeling that, every single clickbait title that has ever been created has already been, there's just nothing new. So that's what I say. You're the fool if you, don't realize how stupid all of this is, because your life is your choice. The content that you choose to consume or create is up to you. But that is the cool thing now about our age, where if you look at the television and how everyone was just completely hypnotized by the TV, now you can reverse it and you can actually become the star of your own show. So that's also part of the clickbait. Technically everything is just a spam and a clickbait scam at this point. We know we live in a Ponzi scheme backed up by the biggest mafia in the world with the greatest nuclear arsenal the planet's ever seen. So enjoy the ride, but you have to choose how you want to play this game, because it is political, and the debt is political. Everything's political. Everything.
Yeah, you never realize how much politics actually plays into everyday society.
Yeah.
If you stop and think about it, But
it's very hard to catch because most people don't get involved in political communication. But when you get involved in it, you realize, oh no. A lot of these Congress people, the senators, the House, and they're criminals. They are charlatans who won't admit. And it's the whole thing. I was looking at the top earmarks in the top 25 congressional districts. Dude, if you can bring in a $200 million contract for a special project in your district, you're a fucking hero. You made people in your district money.
That's how people just continuously re-elect people. Because, like Trump says, I love the poorly educated. Well, that's like 99% of the country. Because most people don't really care about politics, unless it affects them in their front yard. If it doesn't stop at their front door, the price of milk, the price of gas. They don't give a fuck if some politician uses a slush fund that's created by Congress, to pay off their sexual, harassment lawsuits and shit like that. But when you start digging deeper, you realize that Congress established their own slush fund. And congressmen and women use that slush fund to pay off their own sexual harassment cases. But people got to do a lot better. I mean, this country's going to hell in a handbasket. Trump's not going to save us all. I think he's just kind of like, the first person to get out here and really, raise the awareness of, hey, look, if you guys can't get out here and fight for this country, it ain't going to be around here much longer. On that note, bro, I got to get rolling. I got some things I got to get done and get wrapped up before 4 o'clock today. But, John, man, it's nice meeting you, bro. It really was.
Yeah, likewise.
Appreciate you jumping up in here, bro.
I bought a Mercedes convertible once down in Tampa, Sarasota from eBay, and man, I love that car. I should have kept the car and ditched the girlfriend, but nice chatting with you.
Right on. Hope to see you soon.
Okay, God bless. Take care.
All right, see you.
All right, Deco, I don't know if you want to say anything. This is the Buy Bitcoin Room, hosted by John Augustus Michael here. Hope you guys have a great afternoon.
I'm tired of hearing Islam this nigga, I'm 21 years old. Listen, I'm 21 years old, and I ain't never supposed to take care of me all because they're not. Nobody said you're 22. Okay, but fucking listen, dude. Yeah, but you gotta listen to me. You gotta hear me out as well. Come on, Roshi. Alright, cool, listen, bro. Like I said, I'm only 21. Since a little girl, I came here in this America. I'm from the United States. Came here when I was a 10-year-old little girl, bro. They all my fucking siblings because they said my siblings are terrorists because their last name Islam. That's how the Jamal party works, yeah. Yeah, so, just letting people know, Rushdie, we gotta educate the people, right? That's good. See, that's what I'm here for, man. What country you from? You don't have to crash out. You see what I'm saying? Just calm down. Yeah, what country you from, brother? I'm from the world. I hold my Muslim identity above my, whatever country I'm from. Because I look at everybody to be my, part of the same ummah. You see what I'm saying? Alhamdulillah, man.
This is why that person is so famous. And
So it was not particularly Motown? You mean the modern music that she sang? Later in the years?
it was back from that day. It was, that I heard about.
Wow.
If you only hear the top 40 radio versions of people, then you never, unless you buy the album and listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
You do remember the song? And listen to the whole thing? I'll look it up.
Yeah, great. I want to know if I noticed, or maybe I don't know either. But I know a lot of songs from her.
You guys, Nile Rodgers, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So I had a long-form interview with him recently, and he said something really beautiful. I can't remember the actual track that he was referring to, but it was very early in his career. He was doing, being like a session musician and going on stage with random people. And at this one time, he was asked to cover a track that was really, really felt like a pop track that was really famous and that he really hated. And as he was learning, he was complaining to, I think it was his mentor, who was, can't remember who that was either, but he was complaining to him like, oh, I hate this music and all that kind of stuff. But I pulled him up and he said, listen, it doesn't matter. First of all, you're a musician. Second of all, you're contracted to play this. But the third thing, and the big one, is that this song has touched millions of people. It's a good song to millions of people. So get behind it, whatever your personal biases are, you know. I thought, and he kind of went, oh, kind of a penny dropped with him, you know. And I thought that was a really beautiful point, you know.
Totally agree. At the very least, it's worth listening to and taking it seriously and taking a good chance.
Exactly, yeah. The woman has to.
Robert, did you say that you were listening to them?
No, I was just into it. I learned it quite recently.
Oh, like that, okay.
Yeah, long form interviews on Radio 4.
Mm-hmm.
I had quite an interesting journey last year with you put a spell on me to about 5 different versions of that from the very original all the way up through various covers and stuff, and I don't think there's one I don't like.
What do you say? You like them all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
It's a terrific song, and different people have done different things with it.
Yeah, that's right.
By the way,
but you see that often, all songs that get a new jacket. So go ahead.
The song I was thinking of was Donna Summer, actually.
Oh, Donna Summer, yeah.
And it was Love to Love You Baby.
I love to love you, baby. Yeah, I know all the songs. And you thought...
Robert, have you heard the Marilyn Manson version of that?
Do you know what? I don't think I have. Thank you. I'll look for it.
Now there's 6 words that you can listen to.
Brilliant. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll listen to it before he gets in prison for some dodgy sex offences that he's up for.
So anyway, did you listen to the rest of the music from Donna Summer? It was really disco. Because this from those days.
Yeah, when I hear a song that I like that I've never heard before, or I just maybe never heard it in that way, I'll almost always go find the album that was on and then listen to the whole album. And I did do that. This was a couple years ago for that particular song.
Yeah.
And then I started listening to I started doing more like soul and Motown kind of like
yeah, I love it.
And fucking love it. That's some good stuff, and it's stuff that I did because I was, when I was a kid, I was into like Cheap Trick and like white kid rock, and so I just, when you're a kid, you're like, well, this is this is my thing, and other people listen to their thing, and you kind of form your identity around it.
Was that Cheap Trick? I Want Me? Cheap Trick?
Yeah.
I was 13 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Live at Budokan was album.
Yeah, that Live at Budokan was I had that on vinyl, and it was one of my first. I don't think it was my first purchase, but it was one of my first purchases.
My first was the Rubettes. Do you know the Rubettes? Sugar Baby Love. Remember that one? That was my first record at ABBA Waterloo for my sister for my birthday.
My sister had
I listened to that a lot.
Yeah, my first was King Machine, Judas Priest.
Oh, Judas Priest, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know his music.
Yeah, right at the deep end. In fact, it was the first time I went to see as well, and I never quite addressed this with him, but I think I was 13 or 14. And I approached him.
Chicago. I'm John Kittle.
And my mum didn't say anything. My dad went, absolutely not. Well, you go.
Tell me, what does beige taste like?
16. No way.
Oh, yeah.
The following morning, I don't know what happened that night. I've never.
Hey, I'll start at 200 for the old voting machine.
Came down. My dad went off to work. My mum came down for breakfast, and she said, "Go get yourself a ticket."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did she go with you?
Persuaded. Good on her. And that was it. It was Scorpions, UFO, Queen, the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle is brilliant.
And did she go with you, or did you go with a friend?
No, with this group of friends. No, my mum would never have gone to that. No, I just went with a couple of mates, and we just became kind of regulars. And we about this the other day. It was kind of at the time when it was an affordable thing to do for a schoolboy to go to 2 or 3 gigs a month, you know.
Oh. Okay.
But now they're like £50-60 a ticket.
Yeah.
You know, it's out of reach for a lot of people.
And they were played in smaller places, so you can be at the front, and they know you, they see you. You know, that was in those days.
And I'll start at 200 for the old little machine.
I've got 20. Do I hear 25? 30 going once. Time to see what's behind door number 1. God, get over it. I'm running for Congress to put our neighbors. Here's an authenticity card. Without it, I'm a regular job. 10% off roller skates. Great. Now I'm authentically cheap. Hello, Kenny's mystery peanut, but no card. Hey, buddy, brought your root beer. What is that authenticity? First up, gin time. How hard could it be? Let's see what you've been hiding from me all these years. Whoa.
Gentlemen, our national debt is out of control. I think I lost my authenticity.
Again?
Did you check under the couch cushions?
I'm still losing. The laundromat, the post office, I don't feel like me without it.
John, you can't misplace yourself as God.
Oh, God, wait, this isn't my sword.
Is that a loaf of bread? Keep laughing, it's all racist.
Light, yet surprisingly sturdy.
Forget it, I yield. I am not fueling a pastry.
Good, anybody got...
God.
Oh, God, wait, this isn't my sword.
Is that
I'm here on the farm. I get up before the sun. Folks always ask me about the legends in Congress, like the senator who filibustered 24 hours on a single microphone. Now that's endurance and bladder control. 1450.
Well, that sounds great. That's great. I don't even know what the romper room is, but.
Oh, I mean, no, me either. Who's that?
I just.
What's another Donna's track, I think.
Are we serious?
Huh?
How you doing? Where have you been?
I'm good, man. How you doing? What was your first concert, Benjamin? Was it like Elvis Presley or?
Dean
My
Martin.
first concert, and essentially every concert that I went to when I was a kid, was the Monterey Bay Symphony Orchestra playing at the Sherwood Center in Salinas, California. Now, the special concerts would have been a chamber group playing in Carmel for musicians.
That makes a lot of sense.
I just want to say, I just. Now we're gonna stand.
Do you get invited to many?
That explained a lot of things. What's that?
Yeah, it totally does.
It does.
Did you get invited to many parties at that time?
Invited to a party. Like, that was a concept that didn't quite fly in my cult community.
No,
But
we know.
we did have things, and we had fun, and we had parties.
Did you have debutante parties?
No, we celebrated
and
the birth
tuxedos
of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ,
He's a tuxedo
of the flesh,
party.
to save us from our lustful and sinful state.
Sinful state? What do you mean?
Chamber music. That's just the word of the
Oh,
devil.
that's
I would just put some tape over Jesus's eyes. Like, it won't bother you, Jesus, but you can't see.
Oh,
Do you think that Jesus hung out with Epstein? I feel like if Jesus was around, he'd be in the Epstein file.
No.
He was waiting at the gate.
I don't think he'd be.
If Jesus were alive today, he'd be living in Cuba.
Why?
Yeah, no, I'm leaning with Benjamin. He might actually be on the Epstein files then, because, State of Israel, and so yada yada, conspiracy.
Jesus would have been assassinated by Israel already.
I think what I was saying is Jesus.
Folks always ask me about
Epstein. Maybe it's even more.
Folks always ask me about the legends in Congress, like the senator who filibustered.
Jesus is way too Jewish to have been left off of the Epstein files. I think that's what I always think.
No.
Damn. No, listen. For a king,
Folks always ask me about the. I'm here on the farm.
with all the strippers in the home.
I'm here on the.
And then the king get this guy out of here. He knows too much. Obviously, killed all the kings, right? So history doesn't repeat itself, but some rhymes.
It rhymes.
Steinberg.
So I have this theory that how the Catholics had this whole scandal with the priests.
I'm here on the phone.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, which
Several are rolling like I don't know how many files there are in the Catholic priest abuse scandal files.
Lose it. The laundromat, the post office.
Next, I suppose.
Yes,
There's got to be
it's very thick.
3 million files there, right? And I feel like every religion gets their scandal, and like
Lose it.
Catholics
I think I lost my
have
thing.
Protestants have the same problem. And now we have the Epstein files. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and we don't promise people.
I think I lost my authentic.
All you had to do
Gentlemen are-
was just not get
Gentlemen
jerked off by some underage girl. But you couldn't resist, could you?
He couldn't even put on a condom. Because he got the herpes.
Gentlemen, our national debt is out of control.
Closet, let's see what you've been hiding from me all these years.
He's like, happy anniversary, wife. Here's herpes.
That makes him such a fucking hypocrite.
Closet, let's see what you've been hiding.
Fucking public health policy. Gym time. Heart disease to your wife. Dude, shut the fuck up. Never mention a goddamn thing. Ever. I never want to hear a goddamn thing from Bill Gates. Ever again. As soon as he comes on TV, I'm like, fuck this crap. Turn it off. I'm like, I'm not interested. It's like, practice what you
it's gonna be hard to see that face, isn't it? And not think of the Epstein files.
It is impossible.
Authenticity.
So here's how the Epstein files hit home for me. I don't know, has anybody had the Epstein files hit
In a home.
No, I don't have it in my home.
Here's that authenticity card. Without it, I'm doing the job. I went to my local makerspace, right? And there's a first robotics team that needs
Time to see what's behind the door.
because they're in the 6 weeks of build season. And first thing I heard when the kids come in is, so 2 things happened this week, something, and Dean Kamen was in the Epstein files. Dean Kamen is the founder of First. He's also the inventor of Spark the Same Way, as you know. And he's kind of a queer little guy that works on like weird projects, a lot of like safe water questions and things like that. Anyway, out of the founder of First, this is an organization that like only serves kids, right? Less than 18 to be in this organization. I don't know how many kids are there. Probably, I don't know, 10,000 kids, 10,000 kids. And
That's a lot.
maybe more. Anyway.
I'll start at 200 for the old one.
He's in the files.
Wasn't Peter Thiel also connected?
Yeah, but Peter Thiel has no connection to me. So has anybody had any real world contact with the Epstein files? That's what I'm asking.
You might be the only one in this room.
I'm the only one.
You're not. I just can't say who the people as listen,
not the only one that knows. There was another room
incubator, every accelerator is going to have this because that's how the apparatus was constructed. It's about infiltration and dissemination and spreading. You know, so you want to spread this.
I'll start at 200.
Same way that Bill Gates spread the FPV. You just want to make sure that's it.
An accident, and that Epstein is taking the violent person.
You don't get a meeting with Ehud Barak if you're nobody. Heard that recording, yeah? Former Israeli president getting financial advice from Epstein.
And staying at his apartment.
Yeah, and how does that happen? Okay, you're good at blackmailing people. Obviously, you're going to get recruited by an intelligence agency. I wonder who's going to recruit you. And so whether or not he's an actual operative or working for the state, Like, I just come to the conclusion that, yeah, to really control the world, for better or worse, using, like, pedophilia and human trafficking seems to be part of the game. And that's a fucked up kind of thing to realize that, yeah, the really good nations claim just as dark as the evil ones that we claim we're fighting. So, hypocrisy all around. Kind of disappointing.
So I have to run off the business call. Today's kind of a fire drill at work. But I did want to say that my good friend IO is largely full of shit, and most of what he talks about is completely improbable and impractical. And this may be the least probable thing I've heard IO say in the last 3 months.
What I just said now?
That most controls politicians through blackmail. I mean, that's a perfectly reasonable thing.
I mean, and then Yahoo is in the files. I don't know exactly in which way.
Benjamin, your name is Benjamin. I thought it made sense.
I don't know that we've like people really. I hope I said that this was the least improbable thing that I've heard I said on it. I don't know if I heard said it right. Anyway, I have to take off. Enjoy for a bit. All right, see you later. I don't know that people have that it has really sunk in for people, like the gravity, like the enormity of what's going on with Epstein talks. Like the Epsteins are, this is the biggest scandal of American history in the past 80 years. It's bigger than Watergate and like Pizzagate and just about like every other scandal in the past 80 years in the United States. Pizzagate wasn't even a thing.
But the funny thing about Pizzagate is that they were right in the broad strokes, but they were wrong in the details.
Exactly. Like,
he's wrong in the details.
Yeah, Twittergate. I think Twittergate is intimately related to Epstein.
Names I can't pronounce,
agencies.
whose places I have
Infiltrated social networks. Talking groups that monitor everything. Okay? This kind of explains why if you fuck around on Wikipedia, you get banned. Because I've done that before, trying to make corrections on Wikipedia. You just get banned, and then today I read like a little post. And it was like, oh, we have a hard time removing your prison photos from Wikipedia, so we just hacked it and replaced it with your original photos, and now it just says businessman and philanthropist, no pedophile. Because the Wikipedia people kept putting it back, so we banned them all. And I was like, what? So Wikipedia's been infiltrated, and like, oh, come on. Really? We can't have nice things, guys?
I think the interesting thing was even in the ballpark. Like, the fact that Alex Jones was even in the ballpark of being right is terrifying to me.
I think there's a few interesting things around the Epstein thing. I think I've said before, I think what's quite fascinating is the royalty connection. Because here, over this side of the Atlantic, you had Savile, who was like the biggest sex offender we've ever come across. And he was closely very, very friendly with Prince Charles for decades. Plus, he spent, I think, 11 Christmases in a row at Chequers, which is the Prime Minister's sort of country residence. So that level of access, and then you've got Epstein on the other side of the pond, best friends with ex-Prince Andrew. And I saw an interview with a Metropolitan Police Royal Protection Squad guy, and he was saying, I think this is perfectly plausible, he was saying that in order to anybody who gets within like far distance of any of the senior roles,
names I can't pronounce, but
deep vetting,
whose places I have removed.
which means either that the deep vetting doesn't work or is not always applied, which I think is unlikely, or two, the deep vetting is done, and those people, the powers that be, as it were, just consistently look the other way in these particular cases for reasons that are not apparent. And the other thing I think,
or
because of it.
Or they get
James Bond approved.
Yeah, and then the other interesting thing, which I'm sure you know, which is the Ghislaine Maxwell father, who was Robert Maxwell, who owned the Mirror Group, which was a big newspaper group at the time.
Yeah, he was in my six or Israeli, right?
Well, he started off in the Czech Republic, or in Czechoslovakia. I think that's where he was born. Him and his parents came to the UK when he was quite young. He absolutely rose to prominence as a really successful newspaper guy. I remember there was a bit of footage on the TV years ago. I'm watching it on the news, and
for me. That's a lot of iron for this time of day.
Budget, Grandpa?
I need it out of my mop bag.
How is he this wit?
It was interesting because he either fell off or pushed off or jumped off
What do you think?
his private yacht in the Mediterranean, and they fished him out later, deceased. The yacht was called
Across the UN.
After he died, they realised that he'd completely looted the pension fund of the Mirror Group. There was pretty much nothing left because he just helped himself to the whole pension fund. And then his funeral was in Jerusalem, and he had a full military Israeli funeral. Now, that then leads into Ghislaine Maxwell being closely connected to, the massive, American sex offender that is Epstein, being his groomer and his supplier. She's a convicted sex trafficker. She's the only one in history who's been convicted without any of the clients being convicted. It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, so I want to make like I understand why. And I say this like generally speaking, I understand that mathematically it might be advantageous to use pedophilia to exclude people, but seriously, what the fuck? Why can't we win the right way? I thought winning meant winning by being better, not by being a better piece of shit. So that was like the ultimate disappointment, and I'll say this, I wrote a whole fucking play about Benjamin Netanyahu and like all this stuff in high school. I'm on a word for it, and then so like I was raised on this propaganda kind of.
Was not an evil spirit, but a friend, a guide, and a counselor. And wherever Socrates was in danger or difficulty, his spirit came to him, the demon or guardian appears, and he writes about it, discusses it, and tells of the examples of its presence. Our word demon comes from it, but it's not. There is a use that was made after it was assumed that all these pagan deities.
Israel has a right to exist. Anything we say against Israel is just anti-Semitism, right? Everything they do it the best possible way. They don't kill people. They don't kill civilians. But the numbers lie, or the numbers reveal themselves, right? So don't feel too bad. Literally, it was a campaign that was put on decades before you were born.
Yeah, but you didn't write a play, and I did.
I made a music video short film in high school using footage of Tel Aviv getting bombed, heavily implying that the Arabs who did it were monsters. Literally, we all have that stain.
Just for the record. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, because that makes me feel better.
We're raised that way, Romero, so maybe the rest of you, not me.
I got an exception.
But it was weird, because I went to a Catholic school as a Jew, and the school propped up the play and everything. I wrote the play over a few days, and the school just totally pushed it front and center. Which is why are you it was the Anteb Israeli what are they called? Athletes, Olympic athletes. And so I did a play about that kind of hostage rescue situation and so on. And it was weird that a Catholic school propped it up. So now looking back, I'm wow, the apparatus this is quite strong. So I'm like, how does one address this kind of, I don't know, evil corruption? Like, why can't we just win by being better? And I want a mathematical answer, and I just feel myself getting angry, like Christian Bale on the set of Terminator. He's like, what do you mean we didn't see the light? I want a fucking answer! You know, and that's how I feel. And it's kind of like shitty, because I'm like, oh, incoming airstrike.
Start wearing that tin hat, bro. You don't want them to read your mind, do you?
That's why I will wear something that makes my whole head into an antenna, and then.
I'm reading an article from Reporting America. This was dated to July 2025. This was last year before this release. It says the 3-page index is a report generated by FBI that lists the evidence inventoried by federal law enforcement during the multiple investigation into his conduct, his being Jeffrey Epstein's. According to that index, the remaining materials include 40 computers and electronic devices, 26 storage drives, more than 70 CDs, and 6 recording devices. The devices hold more than 300 gigabytes of data, according to the DOJ. The evidence also includes approximately 60 pieces of physical evidence, including photographs, travel logs, employee lists, more than $17,000 in cash, 5 massage tables, blueprints of Epstein's Island in Manhattan home, 4 busts of female body parts, a pair of women's cowboy boots, and 1 stuffed dog, according to the list. Let's see what else there.
Yeah, that stuffed dog is a smoking gun right there.
Oh, here's this part. In a joint memo released last week, this is last year in July, the FBI and DOJ argued that both a large portion, end quote, of the records included photographs of victims and child pornography. According to the DOJ, the evidence includes images and videos, as quote, of victims who appear to be minors, and quote, over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse materials and other pornography, end quote, and a large volume of images of Epstein. Authorities also concluded that Epstein did not maintain any client list or blackmail prominent individuals.
Nothing to see here except these mountains of data. No, but it's not evidence of a list. You see, Elliot, you're just reading it wrong.
There's so much that they haven't released. Like, there's probably tons of videos and photos that nobody has seen yet, and maybe we shouldn't see.
Maybe we have to use a key word specifically, like it's not a blackmail list, it's a blackmail album. You know, maybe we're just not using the correct.
In my tinfoil hat moments, I look at an event like this where there's this massive scandal going on that's absorbing everybody's attention and all the front pages, and I'm thinking, wonder what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. Is it like the South American Contras? Is there like some sort of other thing? Like, hey, when Monica Lewinsky dropped, yeah, so did the Contra affair, right? So what did we miss during this whole shit show? This, hey, pay no attention to the wisdom.
I don't even think there's any real effort being put into covering any of this up anymore. I think there's a bit of a mosaicness around, you know, whoever kind of runs these sort of things or is involved in these things. Like, yeah, I'm on the list. So what? Nothing will happen, you know.
Yeah, so like as a person who's like trying to operate with a startup and so on, like it's gonna just be so hard to like navigate forward and just pick and choose who you like. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, before we have a meeting, I gotta check if you're on the list. Hold on.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Which devil are you willing to shake hands with?
There is a public reaction, like, you know, before the markets opened, like pre-trading environment, which is a weird phrase, pre-trading, you know.
the stocks of PayPal dropped like fucking Wiley Coyote went over a cliff. It just went. You just look at it, it just goes straight down, dude.
Yeah, like, and here's the thing. Elon's like, yeah, I've never been to the island. No, Elon, please say accurately. You wanted to go to the island, and Epstein dumped you. Like, that's what the actual files show. They say, oh, sorry, Elon, we don't have time for you. And I'm like, and that's kind of like, okay, you never went to the island. You should have been a little bit more specific, or you should have just not fucking said anything. Because now that's just weird. Like, come on.
He got rejected from Pedo Island. Like, that's fucking...
Yeah, watch Copyzilla. Copyzilla does the whole thing about this. It's like, what? Really?
Oh yeah, Sam, my son Sam took me on a Coffeezilla. He does some good stuff.
And the weirdest thing is like, oh, you know, Bill Gates gets his wife sick, so then he gets blackmailed to make a donation to MIT. And I'm like, what? Like, why is that the mechanism? And it seems like such an unnecessary web, but it's also like confusing by construction. I feel like it's confusing on purpose, so then it always seems crazy and like.
They didn't really give the full trail to that $2 million. It just seems that there was sort of the donation, which is really odd, without a whole lot of explanation, even though the previous paper trail that they're showing seems to imply that it was some kind of a, like, in other words, very Trump-like way that where it's not actually saying you need to pay me this amount of money, but instead of, you know, I would consider paying you this amount of money. That would help.
Yeah, like I would consider doing this, but you know, if I were to direct you, if I was advising you, and if I was you in this situation, I'd probably consider making a donation to this lab. And it's like that's just, it's, yeah, I'm just disappointed in humanity. No wonder the aliens don't talk to us, okay, guys? See, this is why we can't have nice relationships with aliens.
There you go.
Yeah, the aliens from the Jodie Foster movie.
I'm an illegal alien. Listen to me.
The aliens from that Jodie Foster movie showed up, looked around, and were like, "Fuck that! Let's close access to this wormhole."
Yeah, the aliens are worried about coming here and getting alien probes. That's what they were scared about.
If we had regular aliens, I don't think they'd actually be illegal. I don't think there's any universal law written at that point. I think aliens can come here legally.
Yeah, they're clever enough to don't.
Wouldn't that be fucking wild if aliens from Alpha Centauri were given a clear path to citizenship over people from South America? Like that's
holy shit.
that would be like, okay, time to fucking nuke some people.
Okay, then from America, things go like the Atlantic Ocean, right?
Well, you know, it's funny that you say that, because apparently that's a thing. There is like a fast track for extraterrestrials from all the silly stuff that I've been reading. I'm like, what? There's like, and like Russia has what is it? It's not the nuclear football or whatever. They have the equivalent of like the alien football, which has a list of all current alien residents. And Medvedev, the former president and prime minister of Russia, which, you know, Russia always does weird things like that, said it like on live TV when asked. He's like, oh yeah, we have a suitcase for aliens, yes. And everyone's like, is he joking? Is he not joking? And you go down that rabbit hole and make that question sort of.
Look at like, I mean, I don't really know what all the statutes and laws are under maritime law, but the way I understand it, it's like maritime law sort of governs like a lot of what different countries do in space. You know, in theory at least. Then like, well, okay, I mean like under U.S. law, an alien is defined as anyone who is not a citizen or a U.S. national. So a citizen of the United States or a U.S. national. So that kind of just applies to like almost everybody on the planet, which I guess would include aliens.
outer space.
So what's the difference between a citizen and a U.S. national? Out of curiosity.
U.S. national is like, somebody who lives on like the Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico, places like.
Like they don't have voting rights, right?
DC is like kind of an interesting case. I'm sure Pro could speak to this. DC doesn't have there's no mayor in DC. I don't think they have they're not a state. They don't have like a local police force. I don't think.
We definitely have the mayor.
Oh, sorry, I must be misremembering something. There's something.
We don't have governor. It's not a state.
Oh, okay, that's the one. Okay, that's the one. Okay.
Mayor Browser is pretty popular too. She's like a national celebrity.
So nationals get like the really short end of the stick. So they're basically, they can move around like citizens, but they're not allowed to vote. And they do get a U.S. passport, but the passport has to say U.S. national. And so if they want to like actually get voting rights, they have to go through an immigration process. And so this is often applied to American Samoa and places like that. Whereas it's just there's like a weird class distinction to the U.S. territories, and some of them, like Puerto Rico, get Commonwealth status, and some of them are still U.S. nationals, and it's just something that Congress hasn't wanted to fix over the last 100 years.
Because it helps them launder money.
Well, some of it's just straight racism too. Like they didn't want. I mean, that was where the whole territory system came from anyway, from the Spanish-American War. Like, we can't have all these brown people become part of the United States and have voting rights and stuff. And it's just that and I don't know all the details about how Puerto Rico, say, got Commonwealth status and American Samoa didn't, but I know that racism was a big part of the whole territorial system to begin with.
And it allowed for extraction and illegal murders and environmental pollution and a lot of things. Military weapons testing off the Puerto Rico, lots of things.
Illegal murder sounded a bit like an oxymoron, I think.
I sometimes think of this is a weird analogy here, but racism is to capitalists what sex is to Jeffrey Epstein. It's like Jeffrey. I was thinking about the Epstein stuff. It's like, granted, he is obviously was a mass perv and pedo and all the things, but he was doing it as a principle, fetish tool that made him an incredible blackmailer, right? Like the world's best blackmailer, right? And it's like, who cares which one comes first? It's kind of the same thing when people try to defend racists. It's like, oh, they really just care about the money. It's like, well, no, not all of them. Some people at the base level just care about sex, just like he cares, just like some people just care about racism, right? Then there's other people who weaponize it and make it work for their advantage. And the thing with, I think the witch hunt stuff with the Epstein stuff is a little overblown, because I just think right now what people do is they go, anyone in the Epstein files must be like a pedo. And that's just not the case, right? First of all, they are just files. They're just accumulation of what's there. And you have no way of knowing, just like when people start accusing people of being liars because they say something that's not true. You have no way of knowing if somebody just went to the island because they're a horn dog and didn't know all the implications. Nobody has to be aware of every implication of the people that are there. It's like this, I get upset about the same thing with, like, why don't people do the same kind of stuff with Hugh Hefner? Like, it's all the same horn dogs, right? Like, I guarantee that there are underage girls all over the Playboy Mansion, right? It's just that it hasn't been reported that way, so nobody's even thinking about it. Like, no, that wasn't pedophilia. Of course it was.
But it has been reported. It has been reported.
But what I'm saying is, many people are just like me. If I got an invite to go to the Playboy Mansion, I was probably going to go.
You wouldn't go to it first? Hold on.
you wouldn't Google it first? You would be like, hey, what crazy shit happened?
Sure, but there were years. I mean, I'm old enough that there wasn't Google when you could have gone to Playboy Mansion. What I'm saying is,
Okay, fine. Alta Vista. Don't you Alta Vista it?
Whatever. I'm just saying, people in 2008 and 9 don't necessarily have the prerequisite. Actually, anytime to be Googling, like, hey, let me see if there's some weird shit going on. No, most people are going to say, let me see if there's some hot chicks going on. And most of them are just going because they want those. And that's probably the bottom line. Now, granted, he's way worse than that, and everybody now knows that. But I'm sure there were, like, sports athletes, musicians, just like going to a day party. Back in the day, going to a dinner party was just where you went because there were lots of chicks and because you were trying to increase your networking status, right? Not everybody was there for the chicks, and not everybody was there for the network. So if you're trying to be around some of the most influential people in the world, it doesn't make you a pedophile just because you went to Epstein Island, right? Now, I don't know anybody who's ever been to Epstein Island. I've sure never been to Epstein Island. I didn't even know it was. What I'm saying is you can't just witch hunt everybody who's a bad thing. Like, I hear that people do.
So, counterpoint. I was in film school in 2001, 2002 in Santa Barbara. And there had been an article on CNN about an island where the wealthy could go.
Actually, you know who runs for Congress?
And because it was international waters, there was no law. And I remember talking to people about this where, like, they said, oh, if you get invited to one of these parties, are you going to go? It's like, well, maybe, like, but I'm not going to touch anybody. But then I thought about it, and it's like, no, I'm not going to go. Like, that's just a setup, right? So, like, even in 2002, people kind of knew already what was up.
Look, if you want to look into it, you'll find it. So, like, for example, I went to the Seoul Symposium thing for the UAPs. I got a security briefing by a security firm to tell me what the fuck can happen there. And like, hey, all these things might happen. You might run into these people. Beware of extortion. Beware of people trying to figure out stuff, blackmailing you. All that shit came up. It's just a matter of due diligence. And of course, we're speaking in this day and age, so I think that's also a very appropriate point that we have the benefit of better search now, because even maybe back then it was difficult to even do Google search normally if you didn't know the syntax, like put things in quotation marks and then use the plus operator and things like that. So I remember it being difficult, but it's not impossible. But, yeah.
I think the other counterpoint as well, Pro, is that I totally agree with what you said, but the other side of it is what I said before, is that Ghislaine Maxwell is a convicted sex trafficker and groomer, and, you know, to suggest that she did enough of that to get 20 years, but not enough to have any clients at all, is ridiculous, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, I think we want to blackmail them.
I've been to enough crazy parties and after parties, and probably way more than the average human being in my life, to know that there's some crazy shit that goes on at people's places, and the fact that you were there. Like, I've been to plenty of places that I went to, and I left, like, immediately. Like, I've been around strippers, prostitutes, all that kind of stuff, because it's so connected to the industry. It's just always there. And the thing is like, you never know how wild the place is until you get there. Most of the time, people are just like, where's the after party? People aren't running the credentials of who's there and all that stuff. It's just who's there. Then you get there and you're like, oh, this is a mafioso party. Okay, maybe we should leave. Or sometimes you're in a place that's completely on turf for everybody that's in your set. And you're like, all right, we need to go. But back in the day, when I was first starting doing all these things, all I had was payments and stuff. Cell phones didn't have a way to send text messages, right? You just get to a place, you're there, and you bounce out. But it doesn't matter how good the technology is. It's just easier. It's better now when people want to do their due diligence. But most people come from a hip-hop after party aren't trying to do their due diligence. And most people trying to get their rocks off aren't trying to do their due diligence either. They're trying to see how discreet it is, right? Like how easy they get in and out. Now, obviously, scores of people that, right? I'm just saying, you can't throw everybody in that thing. But like, are they were Epstein files? Oh my God! Like, you can just see where this is going.
I watched a
Jon Stewart last night. I sometimes I watch Daily Show every now and then. I watched one of Jon Stewart's. It was like said, "I'm in the Epstein files," and then when he gets to the material, it's like he's in one email from one person to the other. They're like, "Well, we should probably, there was like a proposition about some projects, some future projects, and one person's like, and we should have somebody like Jon Stewart to narrate and discuss the proceedings of the event or whatever in the film or the project or whatever it was." So like there's cases like that too. And we gotta be, I mean, there's so much shit in there that it's a massive, like, colossal, gargantuan task to go through. Even like for like an army of like FBI agents, it's like a Herculean effort to go through all of this. Also, I want to say that I don't know if this was already mentioned, but France prosecutors, like French prosecutors, have raided offices of Elon Musk. Musk's ex in the headquarters in France. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but
no.
So there's some. This was originally written in French, and this is translated to English. So there may be some errors here, but the crimes being investigated as part of the raid are conspiracy to illegally administer an online platform, fraudulent extraction of data and forging information regarding the operation of an IT system, accessory to possession of pornographic materials involving minors, conspiracy to act as accessory to distribution, offering, or facilitation of the aforementioned content, representative slander, i.e. maliciously making a picture of a person.
Yeah, he's getting
and lastly,
the deep faking stuff in.
Yeah, and then the last one is denial of crime against humanity. The last four. It says the last four are recent and links to the Grok debacle.
Yeah, because like you can.
I don't know. That's
like Grok can declothe you, right? So you can post a photo and then just say, "Hey Grok, here, can you change my shirt? Actually, can you make the shirt smaller? Actually, hold on, let's go to the sun," and you slowly just undress yourself through a series of prompts. So that's the thing in Grok, and they have not secured that. Like, it's kind of wild.
Well, yeah, I think there were issues related to that and it being used to basically generate child pornography, and there wasn't enough safeguards to stop that from occurring. And I think that's still an issue that hasn't been dealt with.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, we want, not too much moderation." I'm like, why don't you just, hire people to make sure these things are reviewed more? Like, I remember a few years ago, Canada did an investigation on Facebook, and they found that there was only one representative who worked in Canada for all of the censorship and problems in Canada. And the guy was interviewed live on air, and he's like, "Yeah, it's just me." And so that kind of like staff, you're not gonna fix anything. Like, you're just gonna, you're putting in the minimum effort. And so, like, in Europe, there's, like, a lot more, like, the laws for slander and so on are higher. So if you make, like, an image of Keir Starmer doing something stupid or whatever, or sorry, not Keir Starmer, but any of the European representatives, you can get in trouble because there's no necessarily free speech in Europe, so.
Quick shout out to Al.
Going to the atheist house.
Oh, you're back, man.
Welcome, Alfonso.
The French are not fucking around. I'm kind of jealous. I wish that were the United States.
Not fucking around with what?
They just raided Elon Musk's ex headquarters in France.
They've ordered him to show up along with the ex-CEO to a court hearing. They want him in Paris.
On what complaint?
I think there's operating there's all that stuff about Grok and the online stuff, but there's also operating an immoral platform or an illegal platform, one of those two.
Well, there's
They're they're not charging him at the moment. They're investigating him, but they want him in Paris to answer questions directly, face to face.
Yeah, I think there's like 6 different alleged crimes that they're investigating him for in France. I put a BBC link in the chat if you want to read it.
I find they're a little standoff telling. And neither of those guys is actually trying to mention each other as much as they do. It's like, if a dude had just told you that you're in those files, and then the other dude had a crash out, and with the level of bravado that comes from both those dudes, it's hard to believe that there's relatively chill people. That kind of makes you think there's probably not that.
Yeah, it's rough.
I came up because I wanted to ask Pro. It seems like he knows. Pro, how can you still get tickets for Epstein Island, and how much are they going for?
So my understanding is that Epstein Island has been turned into a tourist attraction, which kind of
What you mean, like Alcatraz or something?
yeah, I think it's been purchased for the purpose of tourism. So technically, I think you can buy a ticket to Epstein Island.
What, they're turning it into a jail? Or they're turning it into an attraction?
It's just the kind of place that you can go and visit. Like Alcatraz is the kind of place you can go to visit.
Okay.
That's a kind of weird, morbid sort of fascination with Alcatraz. I don't really understand the allure that it seems to have.
You've never seen The Rock?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've also seen what's the other one?
Alcatraz Island. If you're about to Alcatraz.
Whatever happened to Sean Connery? He just kind of seemed to drop off the face of the earth. Just like decades.
But then he died.
If he died, dead, I mean.
Yeah, people die. How long do you look for 2 tickets? Were you looking for 2 tickets or just a solo trip?
I don't know, the whole group.
Always know at least 2. Kind of like
In a lifestyle, you know what I mean?
You always want to do what Elon did. You know, like, hey, I'm gonna be going with the wife. Really? Dude was like, really? Is that what you want to do?
Like in the letter that Epstein wrote back to Elon, he was like, yeah, you might not be comfortable there, so
The wife's not gonna feel good about this one, big guy.
yeah. It's like, hey, wink. And I was like, yo, say word, you're getting tips from a pedophile not to freak out your wife by how fucked up the island is. I'm like, wow. At least he's considerate.
That's another tip of what I'm talking about. Like, very clearly, that dude was looking to go party. Could have very easily been that he wasn't thinking anything other than, I just want to go to a place with a bunch of EV victims around, victims being adults and victims being paid for people that you're as opposed to the pedophilia stuff. Like, I think the pedophilia thing, like, I'm sure the masses of people early on probably didn't know that part. Because if you're just trying to run a successful business, which you want to run a business that is, assuming that you were trying to, be sort of the grand architect of all bribery and blackmail kind of stuff, wouldn't you go with something that's a little more sustainable? Like, on the pecking order of sustainability, like, pedophilia is like, seems like some real niche kind of like heinous kind of thing that's gonna end eventually, right? If you're trying to do sustain, you think that's for your like premium screwball customers, right? Like only for the Trumps or whatever, but maybe it's the Elons too. But just
regular basis. So I also get that you hear that this guy has amazing parties, and you're like, yeah, let's go to one of them. But that's post 2008. So Elon claiming to be retarded and not know how to read, like you know that was in the courts, and you were asked him to go to that island after those months in the courts. You don't get a pass for that, right? Like you gotta cut people out who are toxic, and you know it's just frustrating that that's the answer. You know, I'm sure I grant that answer, but it's still not a great answer.
Paramount's was going to fly for longer, and that will fly.
Yeah, fair point.
Hey, Elliot. You were kind of asking what happened to Sean Connery, besides the fact that he's dead now. But it's kind of interesting, actually, that towards the end of his career,